Where did my computer go? It's acting stupid again. Some of the broadcast that we would like to introduce you to that we're bringing to you here on this channel. I hope you all enjoy each of them, and please feel free to subscribe to us and follow us here, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, and Wordpress. You can stay updated to all of our broadcasts and future upcoming broadcasts as well. Welcome everyone to tonight's open discussion night. I'm sure between me and Chris, we've got tons of topics we'd like to discuss. A couple things I want to recover from earlier this week. And remember guys, tonight's your night, so feel free to ask questions, join in, share your experiences. We'll be monitoring chat all night long. Chris, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself while I switch to headset.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Chris. Some of you may know me as Kep from elsewhere. And, yeah, I look forward to it. We've been doing these chats for a while now. About a month, I think, since I came in. Drew's been doing it for a bit. But, man, we cover some ground, that's for sure. 8 hours the first two. That was pretty amazing. Everybody, I tell you, this we've got some really warm weather from Michigan. It's in the 50s right now, and it's usually, sometimes below zero this time of year. It's got my sinuses thrown for a loop. I'm kind of stopped up right now. Yeah, we got some subjects in mind here. I hope he's got a list. I didn't make a list. I forgot half what I wanted to talk about. I'm sure it'll come to me.
No,
any
I never
questions,
have to make
comments? What's that?
Make a list.
No list this time, huh? Cool.
No.
I think about them. That's about as far as I get with lists, unless I've got a real reason. I make enough lists and charts and diagrams for other things. It's nice not to have to.
very sluggish tonight.
You or the connection? That's right. I'm sure it'll kick off. We'll get in our groove.
Yeah, it's been coming and going. But yeah, anybody got any questions or want to discuss some topics you guys want to discuss, feel free to mention it, post it in chat, and we'll answer. Like I said, we're monitoring chat. But yeah, it's like I said, this week I've done a few interesting articles. You know, sigil magic being probably the key one that I focused on a lot this week.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me. So you're getting one ready.
Which I don't, like I said, I don't normally, when it comes to sigil magic, like I said, I know it, I've used to use it, but now it's pretty much one of the other night was discussing with Rob. You know, I pretty much will do it mentally anymore. But I went back, like the other night, during the magical gaze discussion, I went through and showed some of the graphics that we use for this channel. Impressing and shocking at the same time to realize how much sigil magic that me and Sweet actually used in our graphics. And it wasn't, we weren't conscious of it. Just like I really wasn't conscious of the KOTR being done that way as a meme and logo type thing. Unconsciously I was, once it was pointed out.
The symbols just pour out. Sometimes the more subconscious it is, the more it pour out. I figure you've got your subconscious pretty well reprogrammed at this point. If you're pulling them out of thin air like that.
Well, it was like that video that you had posted on Facebook from, what's her name? YouTube, Teal.
Teal, yeah.
Oh, I knew those tones are put in there intentionally. Because I was hearing them in the background. At first, I thought, well, you thought they might have been just a fan or some background noise. Then, at certain segments, the tone changed. There was a different tone. I mean, it's barely audible, but it's there. Then as I was listening to it, when I kind of closed my eyes, I could actually see the other story being told that she actually wasn't speaking, but consciously vibrating through the tones. I don't know if she was aware of it, but that's what she was doing.
Oh, yes. I guarantee she was.
Got some good,
see, I
got some good imagery out there.
I got a mixed opinion about her. I like her material, but I don't think I would like it, or I don't think I would find it actually useful if I didn't know some of the hidden story. Not her personal story. I don't know about that. I don't even care if it's real or fake. What her life has been. It's the information is what matters to me. But yeah, there's I don't know. There's something there. I think you're right. But
I think what she was discussing in that video.
Oh yeah, that's what
she was hitting on some cool, good points, but she wasn't breaking it down enough for people to understand.
Yeah, she was putting it out there in kind of general terms, which is all right. It's probably an intro. I've seen her do that before. She'll just lightly touch on a topic. And usually in her interviews or her the talks, the bigger talks that she does, the public ones, she'll do it, which is all right, I guess. She's helping to correct some of the misconceptions, which she was correcting some of them right there with the New Age movement. That's not the first time she has touched that subject, and she calls it spirituality 2.0, but she put it in a personal context. And me, I figured it was time to come off my high hill and make my choice. Am I going to go ahead and, do this metaphorical or symbolic ascension and go off the mountain up into the stars? Or do I need to walk back down the mountain? And see, at the time, I had an extremely low opinion of everyone. I thought people were just, animals. But now I see them more as children that they just need guidance.
Right.
And it seems as much as I bitch and complain about people, which I do that from time to time. It seems it's more important. The oneness thing is part of it. And part of it actually hits as not even spiritual. I'm just a member of the species. It's by being a member of the species, it's your job to guarantee the survival, and that's what makes the most sense. It's to bring the knowledge back down off the mountain.
Right.
Put my
That's kind of our duty to do that.
Yeah, put my cloak up, put the lantern out, get out of the nighttime, get into the daylight, so to speak. Talk to some people.
Yes, for all your hermits out there, we're talking about you guys.
Which I got the card show up, and somebody threw out a candle lantern that looks exactly like the one from most of the tarot decks for the hermit. I don't normally do that, but I had to grab it. So I snatched it up, put some rust treatment on it, painted it in the heat resistant paint. That came, the hermit card just kept showing up over and over again. In my readings.
Mine used to be temperate.
Yeah. So I kind of figured someone was trying to tell me something there.
Yeah, mine used to be temperate all the time.
Yeah, temperance was showing up for a lot of people.
So I finally said, I get it. Enough.
Oh no, wait a minute. That was the star that was showing up for a lot of people. Then they do the star in the Super Bowl. So I kind of think there's a lot more people in this flow than what we think.
Oh yeah.
And I even wonder if the Thelema thing is being pushed as it was intended to be a replacement religion. I could kind of go with that. I don't like anything getting pushed, especially when it's pushed with a particular slant. But whatever. I could cope with that.
I think it was pushed.
Oh yeah, it was
especially after Peter Carroll.
Then I see the Babylon working. It seems to be playing out in a lot of different ways too.
Yes, I enjoyed watching some of that last night. It was a new take on things.
Things get interesting when you play with the primal goddesses.
But you actually you helped me remember what I was a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. I think it was either in the first or second open discussion we did, one of the 8-hour ones.
Yeah.
You reminded me, because remember I talked about, because I was on a conspiracy site with one of my friends he's from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 6 of us that started stuff, sharing information and stuff. And he did a topic on that very thing. I just couldn't remember what the papers were called, what the project was called, where Crowley actually was involved in it as well.
The Babylon
Yep, the Babylon Project.
Yeah. Well, what reminded me yesterday was somebody posted something on Parsons and Scientologists, and it was a paywall thing. So I just found the first one that I've read. I forget what site that's from. It's got a lot of occult information on it. I'll remember it in a minute. But then I remembered other things I've looked up about that. Yeah, the Scientologists, they have a kind of weird inverted and spun or twisted 90-degree concept. And they got it straight from Crowley through Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons is the guy that taught it to L. Ron Hubbard. And he replaced things like Lamb is somebody different, or Lim, or Iwas, or whatever. I don't remember if those are the same entity or two different ones. No, I think Lamb is a separate entity. But anyway, they talk about thetans and it being attached to your back. So those are the dark tentacles to some of us. That's all those things are. We know what those are. The ancient shamans knew what they were. They just didn't bother naming them. And they take a kind of a more of an alien bent to it. But no, that dude, he was a charlatan all the way. Hubbard.
Oh, yeah.
And they get the power aspect. I got to study up on it more, on Crowley's concept of it. They get a power concept just about right, but I don't like what they do. If I'm not mistaken, what they do is they take the higher self or the holy guardian angel, and they kind of turn that into the ego or something. There was a person that studied the hell out of this stuff that wrote a paper on it, an article. I'll have to find that. But they're very much a flesh over spirit.
I think it goes even more deeper than that, especially when we start dealing with the more higher inner order workings of Scientology. I think it's more of a control-based mechanism.
Well, yeah, the same
they want to use
power as the Satanists.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat. It's just, now they do include an afterlife.
Right.
You're not just a bag of flesh. So that part I can kind of get with.
What they did, in all truth, what they did, they took the psychological paradigm model, and they've manipulated the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But for their own agenda. I mean, it's a twisted group of people, but some of them behind it, like Hubbard, and there was another one. You find a lot of his stuff in the occult workings. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I mean, his videos are all over YouTube. But the way they break it down and get into it, they want to program the minds, but at the same time, they realize, by doing so, they're gaining followers. So they're getting more like a God complex, in a sense. They're using them as followers, tools.
A lot of the mass marketing gurus out there are hardcore Scientologists. One of them, at least, even brags about it. He says, he gives 15% of everything to the church, and he's unbelievably wealthy. And that's his church.
And it's something that's more catered to the rich as well. Yep. Normal, everyday people are not getting into the actual real orders of Scientology.
Right. They get pulled in kind of like soldiers. They're just grunts.
They're grunts. They're more like laboratory lab rats.
I'm hoping they're not. I haven't been able to talk to him in a couple of months, but I got a friend of mine. I'm hoping they're not getting their meat hooks into the guy. He's a young guy, and in a way, it could do him some good. It could certainly get him to his dreams. They're out there in that realm, and I don't have any beef with that. If that's his will, I'm cool with that. But not. I have a feeling that he'd get used as food.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a shame too. He's mentally strong, emotionally strong, kind of shaken up over.
Well, yeah,
it happens. Everybody learns.
It goes back to what we've been saying for the last few weeks. It's time we take back our tools.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our tools have been set in the wrong hands for a very long time. Nobody talks about it openly. We're always letting them, use them to blame us for things.
Yep. They try to intimidate us.
Right. But,
they usually don't make good on it.
You don't see them speaking out against those who are actually aware and are, that are open and aware. They tend to avoid us.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it
probably for good reason.
I think there's kind of an unspoken, not quite an oath, just an unspoken code not to go against your own, even if they're on the other side. But then again, I think a lot of people don't obey that.
No, you get people like me who'll call you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
If I see bullshit, I'm calling it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm going to call it out for those that missed on the magical gaze. See him about almost an hour and a half in when I went off on an image. Because, guys, all these images you see on Facebook, Twitter, 90% of them are memes. They have an alternate meaning. This is something you'll see practice within Scientology as well.
Oh, hardcore.
They were good with using images to manipulate the mind. Like I said, Scientology really, I mean, you can just feel the vibe off of it. It's just not the bad vibe. The energies are not right. And it's just like we was talking about Teal. What she was talking about, in a sense, I know she got it because I seen the images that was coming off the background noise that she had going. I know she got it. She didn't really say it in the way I say it. But it goes back to what I said. We got to realize that all energy, frequencies, vibrations are part of us. There's no such thing as good, bad, light, dark, negative, positive. They're all a part of us. Problem is when you start put titles and stuff and focusing on one because you don't want the other, you're restricting the natural flow. You're restricting the natural process. So now you get this, what I call a rubber band effect, because I think it's easier to understand this way. Try to break it down in the simplest, layman's terms I can. You stretch that rubber band so far, it's going to break and snap, and it's going to hurt. Hence, the backlash you get.
Yep.
Because you're not allowing certain energies to flow in unison. Everything should be flowing in unison. There should be no titles or things because your intent's what's making the result happen anyway. So if you've got the purest form, which is all the energies in one, weaved together in an intricate weave, no negative effect or positive effect. It is what your desired outcome is. When you start putting focus, I can't have no negative. Negative is bad. That's when you get the backlash. That's when you start restricting yourself. You start denying your spirit. You start denying your spiritual growth. I mean, I loved how she was putting it. People do that. They put themselves in a positive bubble and try to block out everything else. And they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. We're each of us affect each other. In a sense, by doing that, we're also affecting other people around us and hurting their growth as well. That's when we end up brushing people the wrong way. And it comes with being able to realize these things. You're not of one different type of energy, this and that. You're of all types. Everything that flows through the universe, that flows through this earth, flows through you. It is a natural process. It's a natural cycle of things that should be meant to flow freely and unobstructed.
Absolutely. That's why I don't really block too much. I do block some things, but I consider if I'm having to block it, it's because I don't know what to do with it yet. I discovered it when I started to learn how to deal with empathy. And I hadn't read much material at all. I kind of do this. I'll experiment with something as much as I can on my own. And so I often come up with totally different terms for things and a totally radically different understanding. What I like to use is the emotional flow around us is like, imagine you're kind of almost like smoke, where the currents can pass through you or they can move you. And so if you put up a block, it's kind of like standing into a strong wind. You know, you got to lean into it a little bit or it'll knock you over. You know, like 100-mile-an-hour wind. You got to lean into it. But that wind's always changing, so you're putting a lot of effort into leaning into it. And if the wind reverses, you get knocked flat on your face or on your ass.
Right.
What I discovered was, and I discovered it through my own, as I would work on something major in me, I would recognize, hey, a lot of people have this problem. A lot of people are feeling this emotion, but cover that. No longer feel really hurt. In other words, that tells me I can remove any block I've got to that and let everybody's flow through me. I can actually let the environment just flow through me. And then it hit me. If you let it flow through you and you know what to do with it and transmute it, and you're not afraid to go ahead and feel the bullshit and the negative, and find the part of you that matches both sides in case of a polarized thing, or you just feel and you know, okay, well, this thing, you know, it hurts quite a bit, or it throws me really off balance. It feels like my energy's off, but I'm not going to shield that. I'm going to go ahead and work through it. And so what if it's, you know, my neighbors, whatever they're going through, or the whole city, or the whole planet, whatever the case may be. It could be the whole universe for all I know. It doesn't really seem to hurt more by taking on others as it does my own. I may come back to the whole we're one thing. No, I just found that letting some of it flow through, at least, that seems a lot more appropriate. You get to transmute it that way. And it really does seem to make a change on the world.
But I also think you brought up a good phrase there about the polarization of our left and right hemispheres of our brain. That's how we restrict and kind of block the use, you know, instead of working together as one. Mm-hmm. That's actually how we're blocking it, because we're not allowing everything to flow naturally.
Yeah, to block it, you have to
do it.
To block it, you have to accept that there's something to block.
Right. But what they're doing, most people doing it, they create illusion of something to block.
Yeah, and that's the division.
Oh, that's negative, that's positive. And the object is to let it flow naturally. Everybody's got their degrees, how much you can take at a time. You know? But you're supposed to push those boundaries as well. Yeah. As you're doing that, you're allowing the two hemispheres to connect and work together. As you start teaching yourself that, now it starts becoming the unconscious and subconscious, starting to learn to work together. Hence, now you're really starting to put this palace guard to sleep, or your little sensor there to sleep, that allows the subconscious to seep in more and more, and slowly building up to where it's just flowing a steady stream, everything working in unison.
Yes, I agree. In the rubber band effect, I use a similar one to that. I say it's similar to pushing a tree limb in the woods. Mm-hmm. After a bit, you either just run out of reach and you let go, or you're not strong enough to push anymore. It smacks you right in the face. Unless you're crafty, you can. This is a left-hand pathway, but you can duck and let it slap the person behind you.
Right.
Or brush past it. So I never follow too close, metaphorically or physically.
Right. It just goes back to say, karma had nothing to do with it. Karma is another one of these stumbling blocks that people use to put a block and title something. It's cause and effect. Plain and simple.
Have you ever heard
that person wasn't smart enough to reach up and grab that branch, before I took my hand off and keep it held, well, he got what was coming to him. They smacked him in the face. When all he had to do is put his hand up and apply a little pressure and follow me through.
Yep.
Common sense, guys.
I'll throw a big technical term out there for people who've never heard it before, but it's a simple concept. Have you ever heard of a soliton wave? Fancy word for something simple.
Okay. That's probably why I didn't get it.
All it is if you, there's a couple of ways you can create one. You can, if you've got water to play with and you can make waves in it, if you bring waves together hard enough, the two waves that are in phase so that they're both peaking at the same time, they come together. Occasionally, they'll break the surface tension of the water and it'll pop out a wave of water that totally separates from the flow and comes back down. You can do it in if you've ever seen a drop of water in slow motion, it hits the water, then another drop comes out. That's a soliton. To stick with the frequency metaphor, sometimes we set things in motion and they seem to have an effect that the actual cause, I should say, becomes its own thing, like a soliton. It pops out and it's no longer part of the flow. You can no longer see it. It's not in anywhere in your field of perspective in any form, unless you really open yourself up. But it can seem to come down at a random time. Take, for instance, a rough childhood. The person can spend their late teens into their early 20s wrecking their life, get out in the clear. They think they're good to go until their 50s, 40s or 50s. 20, 30 years later, the soliton can come back down and crash into your life. It could be in the form of, debts that weren't taken care of. Person just ran away from them. And, eventually they catch up to you. Those sorts of things. But it's easy to believe that nothing's going to happen. Or you spend 20 or 30 years being a dick to people. And finally, everybody all at the same time says, I've had enough of this guy. It's a person who's become oblivious to their own causes. When the effects hit, they have no clue. It looks like the world is against them. That, I think, is another aspect of karma. We create these solitons all over. We set things in motion, forget we set them in motion, or we're completely blind to them. But they're very much working, especially since all of it requires human minds. That means you can really come back in weird ways. And you can even subconsciously prompt people without them ever having come in contact with you before. You carry the message. You communicate with their subconscious, and they start giving you back whatever it was that you're stuck in. So the soliton actually exists within you. So this is kind of like that's why I call it a metaphor. Just a metaphor. It's still another way of the world reflecting back on you, but it does so by cause and effect, like pushing the limb. But in this case, it's like you throw something up in the air and then just take off running without looking up. It could fall behind you, to your left, to your right, or right on top of your head. You can clobber yourself easy. That's kind of my little addition to karma there.
I just don't believe in karma.
No.
I think it's the biggest joke that's been taught to our communities.
Well,
I mean, there's teaching lessons there, don't get me wrong. It's a training wheel.
Yeah.
But you got to, eventually, sometimes, guys, you got to learn to take those training wheels off. Just like you got to learn, you don't need these physical ritual tools. You are the ritual tool. Everything that tool has is already inside you. You've already trained yourself and trained those parts of the mind to access that tool.
Well, the New Agers kind of screwed that one up. They took an incomplete concept of it and oversimplified it. They misunderstood Einstein when he said, make everything as simple as possible, but no simpler. Some things are complex, and you cannot make them more simple. If you break them down too far, you're left with a whole bunch of pieces and you have no clue what they do. So I think a lot of people take simplification way too far.
Yeah. I mean, this is about, the discussions we have here is about the simplest you're going to get.
Yeah.
Because one, like I said and stated before, I'm not going to hand you everything on a silver spoon. I'm going to give you the knowledge to use it, but to get the wisdom from it, you have to use it and experiment and find your own boundaries, own places, stage of your growth, how to use them. You always need to come back to them and reflect as you grow, because you might learn something else that was missed. And don't be afraid once the training wheels come off to get rid of it. I mean, some things, yes, they have an importance. I mean, you know, if you just can't, for some odd reason, you're struggling to be able to achieve a certain state of mind, well, hey, that's what that ritual tool was for. Touching it, it'll refamiliarize. It becomes a trigger object, and that reawakens it. I'm not saying completely get rid of your tools. I'm just saying learn that they're just that. They are tools.
Oh, yeah.
And that they're already inside you. I mean, that's all our ritual tools are. There's nothing but focal trigger objects.
Yeah. I like how you put that. I like how you put that. Oddly, I've never used those terms for it. Thank you. That's what I do. Like my staff, I carved a staff specifically to trigger me to use everything I know about DNA and accessing, you know, I firmly believe, and I have to say it is a belief, I can't back it up completely. I believe that what we call the voices of our ancestors are stored in our DNA, a lot of it. I think it's just a physical writing into the DNA. But anyway, I use the staff as a trigger. It's in my mind, I've embedded symbols. I may someday go ahead and inlay the symbols in there. I might get some silver, maybe some copper, maybe, I don't know, I might do an iron piece in there, but I'll have to put that where I can protect it so it doesn't rust.
Right.
I might put some metals in it for various correspondences that mean something to me. But in my mind, there's a whole bunch of layers, and depending on where I'm working at, all I have to do now is touch that staff. I don't have to think about it. To me, it's as if they're already carved into it. So that's another form of sigilization, or sigil.
Right.
Sigil. However.
But now here's the beautiful part for people that are in tune enough, can see, really see, because they're seeing the patterns and everything. You will never need to carve them. We'll see them in that staff. Yes. Wow. Because you've already, essentially you've taken that image and you've already engraved it and burned it into that image.
Yes, you're right. Or at least you get the meaning out of it. You'll just have a knowing, that's what this staff is for. This one's for something different. This athame is for this one's for that. And it may not be by the appearance of it. But yeah, some people do see the symbols. I actually had a person see a picture of my staff and start to tell me some things that could only have come from those combinations of symbols. And I found that to be rather interesting.
Right. And it does.
And I thought that person was full of shit about other things too. This person's intuition and how they interpret it and tell it as their story, it threw me off. I took it as just somebody making up fairy tales. But then a person started to show me, okay, they're actually getting it. That's just their, they like to make up this story about it to explain it. Well, that's why I don't say too much about what I do when I'm in my out-of-body states. It just sounds like stories. Some of it would sound like alien stories. I don't know what the hell is going on. As far as, I may visit the same place and it appears totally different. It's because I don't need the details. I just need the symbolism. And so I don't put much stock in the imagery itself. I look at, what does this represent? Everything. I even look at the real world as symbolic now. Have you ever done that? I think I asked you the last time. Yeah, I look at things as,
I do quite often.
and then there's a fun exercise that kind of comes off of that. I think it's even a Zen exercise. I discovered that later. Someone told me at least. Become the object. Just play around with, go in meditation, stare at an object, and become that object and experience from its perspective. Play with, if it had eyes, what would it be seeing? But then get more basic. Okay, this thing is just an inert piece of matter. How would that perspective, how can I wrap my noodle around that perspective? How can I look at this, it's kind of an ugly big blue vase that I just looked at. How in the hell can I get in that perspective? And you do this with enough things, you find like jumping spiders. I love them. They're one of the easiest to do this with. If you don't like spiders, find any bug, any insect you like. Because some people get creeped out over spiders. For me, it's jumping spiders. They're the cutest thing ever. They're even fat and play with them. But they will react to you. They're actually interactive critters. You project an image of an opposite sex to what it is on your hand, and put your hand in front of it and see how fast it jumps to your hand. Do it so well that you start to get a trace of a ghost feeling of the imaginary spider in your hand. If you can manage that, I guarantee you it will react. It will respond. It's a really good way to build your confidence too. These little bitty exercises, because it's so fun to do. Even if you fail, it's okay, whatever. You don't care. You're having fun playing with nature. I've found other insects are harder to do that with. Hive insects are very responsive this way, but be careful. I don't recommend people play with hornets, which I do partly as exposure therapy to get over a phobia. But I'll actually get up and basically through my energy signature, I will invite them to land on me. And it's kind of scary a little bit. I'll admit it gives me, even playing with other spiders, it gives me the willies like you wouldn't believe. But I go ahead and push through it, and I find, even if I'm a little scared, they don't seem to really care. They'll pick up for one thing, spiders, one of the reasons they're easy, especially if the weather's cold, you can pick up almost any spider. Right. They sense the warmth of your hand. They'll actually press their belly to your hand to get the warmth. They're not going to bite you. Unless you manhandle them or press them or try to close them off. Like if you cup your hands over them, just about anything will bite or sting that way. If you're not real, so you got to be really gentle. I've never been able to do that with a wasp or a hornet or anything. Still too chicken for that. But the tools, yeah. It's good to grab a tool from time to time. Sometimes you just need to get something done. And you don't, like for me, there's a lot of things that every once in a while I just get so much noise. I need a tool to cut through the noise. I'll grab an athame. I may not do the whole circle casting thing. I don't always need circles. I push my own bubble out, and I can form. In my mind, I can form semi-permanent structures this way. Like I walk around the neighborhood, and I walk circles. I do counter-rotating, circles, squares, whatever the layout of the land lets me do. But yeah, I put up barriers, things like that. It's just a tool. It's a visual tool. Right. At some point, I'll probably graduate from that, and I won't have to put any conscious effort into these things whatsoever. And just by being present in a place, it will accomplish all of that. So I guess that would be, in a sense, becoming the place, including the people in the place. But that's kind of creepy. I still have an ethical issue with getting into people that way. If I'm in what I would call an extremely pure-hearted, true will state of mind, which usually expresses as love. Very rarely do I have any urge to do anything that would be considered aggressive. Although that's happened a few times too. I get a feeling And part of it's that part of me just disappears. And that's probably what you call the putting the guard to sleep.
Right.
I wonder if that's what the thing about the blind guardian is. I've heard some myth
I
about
never
a
thought of
blind
it
guardian.
that way.
I don't know. I don't even remember what mythology the blind guardian is from. I know they're good, a kind of decent late 80s band, early 80s. Anyway, we're off on a tangent there. They're rambling a 2K addict minds tonight.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I said, people's got to start understanding these basic things. Go ahead.
Oh,
Still
sorry.
fresh in your memory.
I just noticed that we have a visitor. That's
Yeah.
what, hey. AGERZ?
I think it's AGERZ incoming.
AGERZ, okay.
Yeah. I was actually just looking at his channel here a little bit ago while you was talking.
Yeah, sure, I'll check it out.
Give you a chance to check it out, then give his channel a little review there. When I see it's kind of more comedy related, which is, comedy is good. Humor is great, guys. It helps release bullshit that we build up.
Oh, yeah. Dispel with laughter. That's one of the most powerful things.
Mm-hmm. Have no problem giving somebody a review that produces content like that. I mean, everybody's got their own parodies and comedy and rants. But like I've said, KOTR has always been about supporting other artists, no matter what they do.
Mm-hmm. I'll support artists that I can't stand. I've done it a few times.
I do it all the time.
People would probably end up, out behind the house duking it out, or just walking away from each other. But yeah, I'm all for following your true will, even if your true will is obscured from I've discovered that.
Also, I look at it this way: if you're open-minded enough to come to my channel and ask for this, I've got to be open-minded to go to yours and look and review. In fact, let's just jump over there real quick.
Yeah, I'll let you check it out first, and I'll probably pause this, or no, I'll mute my mic so I can hear, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I think everything comes with a purpose of some sort anyway. If it doesn't, screw it. I'll put it to, I'll bend anything to my will if I can. And I won't even lie about it. I won't even lie about it. My will is from my perspective so helpful to others that my focus is towards others, but that tells me the better person I am, the more capable I'm being tolerant of, get with you, better. So I see it kind of as bettering myself so I can provide more for others. That seems to be the right direction of flow. I don't see it as choosing self over other. Do I do everything selfishly or everything for others? If there's one meal, if there's only enough for one person to eat, do I give them all of it? No, I might split it. Or if it's truly a survival situation, I might have to say, hey, buddy, nope, not going to stick over here. I'm not going to head near my food. No, somebody's going to die, and it's sure as hell only going to be me. But if it's a woman, well, I know myself. I was raised that way, deep south. I'll do what I can do. So there's some feelings that come in at times.
Especially in the times we're living in. I mean, I kind of grew up on some of the old school British humor, comedies, parody type stuff. So, I love that type of stuff. Oh, hell yeah. I can't remember the one series, but
Red Dwarf.
It's nice to see if someone from across the pond actually got a nice YouTube channel. Guys, definitely check it out. British Banner, he's got Roasted to the Core, calling Asian men Kevin. 8-year-old talks politics. That's got to be good. I'm not going to play the videos because YouTube has a tendency to try to hit people for copyright, even though I know you kind of gave me permission to review your channel. But definitely, guys that are watching, check this channel out. I mean, he's got some good stuff. When I actually was skimming through while he was talking and clicked on a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll go.
I mean, right now,
this might
sometimes the best way to...
Cool.
Right. I mean, sometimes the best cure for fucking some of the division we got going on, the arguing, just find some comedy and just get some laughs.
Hell yeah.
You know, but yeah, guys, subscribe, check him out. Like I said, if you get notifications, just hit the subscribe button and click on the little bell. And just do what I'm doing, you'll get your notifications. You can also find him on subscribe here, live sub count, Social Blade, and my Google. It's from the United Kingdom. He's only got 70 subscribers, guys, but he's got 3,642 views. Check it out.
Yeah.
Checked out a couple of videos before I shared this, and definitely been an interesting channel that I'm going to actually look forward to following for a bit.
My wife, she picked out an excellent picture. I actually used it on a landing page for a community internet or network project I've got going on. It's just really simple. We rise by lifting others.
Right.
I like that.
I mean, yeah, it's just like his channel. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, but as you're incoming, I mean, guys, it's people like this. This is what, even back when we was doing the magazine before I brought it to this format, this is what it was about, supporting others that do good content. You know, it doesn't matter what our beliefs are. You know, and that's what I love about parodies, comedy stuff. They can joke around, make these about anything, anyone, any particular beliefs, and there's humor to be found. It's just, I mean, we live in such chaotic times. You know, I support art. If anybody's been on my Twitter page, I support artists. Yeah.
Cool.
And most people that are watching this channel enough to know that they'll know I'll butcher names and words quick. Sometimes I do it on purpose too, because some of the words I don't want to pronounce correctly or because it causes intonations. So I will intentionally butcher it.
Thanks for that tip, by the way. I think that's been a key that I've been missing for a long time. About intentionally mispronouncing so you don't intone it.
Right. Because there's just, especially when you start, like me, I've worked a lot with the Enochian. There's no intoning there at all. I mean, you can, you don't have to. Just saying the word, like Zakari Zamaran. It's instantaneous. It's already charged. You can feel the energy coming right off it.
Okay.
All that means is move and show yourself. Don't bother me. That's why it's been so hard for me to actually do a video on the Enochian, because, you know, having to repeat some of the words, that's hard to butcher them, for one. And, you know, like I said, the room can get full from time to time. I don't want everything to manifest at once to show themselves.
Yeah. I wonder if he was tapping in the same, or actually it was both of them. I wonder if they were tapping into something similar to the Egyptian system of hieroglyphs. And I wonder if that's why staring at them can do it. Just seeing them. You could flash them in a single frame of a movie and it would trigger them. You don't have to know what the hell you're looking at. You just, yeah, that's
keep an eye on chat for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to check a couple things. I've seen a couple notifications pop up. But I also want to put his channel in my description link while I'm thinking of it. I have a bad habit saying I'm going to do it and forget about it. Try to break myself of that habit. Plus, I want to put Teal Swan's description in there since we've been talking about her.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll check some of these out and I'll report back next show. So there you go. There you go, AGERZ. Incoming. You got us. You got you got airtime on 2 shows. Nice.
Right. Because I mean that's what it's all about, though.
Yeah. No spammers.
Not everybody's gonna agree with things I say and do, which is cool.
Recommend that. But I don't consider
All right, let me see here.
anybody that's creative, they want their stuff to be known. I don't consider that spamming.
No, it's not spamming.
I've gotten excited about projects and basically spammed it to everybody repeatedly. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like a little kid that way.
This is what the lady was talking about earlier, Teal Swan. And I checked out a couple of videos throughout the day after I caught Chris's post. She definitely is interesting, and I like what she's saying. For the most part. This was the one we were discussing, the next step in the game. I like the way she can make it so you can visualize it. I will warn you guys, I don't know where she's doing it, but there is vibration tones, frequency tones that you can hear in the background that will trigger, like of imagery stuff. For those who know how to do that, go ahead, close your eyes, let it hit you. Then you can see what else she's saying. It's like 2 stories in one, the way she's doing it, which I thought was intriguing in itself. Like I said, I don't know. I haven't watched enough of her videos to know she does it all the time. But I also noticed she does...
I watch most of her shows. She's only done that in a couple. I think the one was green screen, but I'm not sure. If that's the case, she could be just in a noisy... she may have had to downgrade a studio. And now all the equipment's in one room. I have no idea. But I will say I want to try it with headphones. I got to hunt down my headphones. I need to try it with headphones and see. She might have some binaural beats going on there.
Right.
And I'm used to detecting those states of mind.
Oh, she's got some hellacious views.
So if it's random noise, I won't get much more out of it than, and I may even, if I get really ambitious, I might go ahead and run it through an audio filter and see if I can filter out the frequency and see if it has the same effect.
But yeah, here's a little description on our channel. Teal, the Spiritual Catalyst. The Ask Teal video series takes questions deep and inert within our human experience and answers them eloquently and concisely. Topics range from how to find self-love and the Akashic Records, which, I want to check some of that out. It actually goes to some of the things we've been discussing here late, to medical questions like autism and obesity. Teal is a spiritual teacher who can see energy patterns within the body, and thus how these patterns react to drugs, food, emotions, and even disease within the body. Trust me, I lived with her for 10 years, and I can't get anything past her. Why did you say yes? Your energy didn't say that. She has said to me multiple times, there are free source of content to get word out about Teal's messages to the world of healing, self-improvement, and how every individual impacts their own world and the greater world around us. Enjoy. You can find her at www.tealswan.com and at Google. Just check out her page. I'll leave links in the description. You guys can actually refine this. You can actually check out her page. Like I said, I found her videos interesting. It's like I found AGERZ videos kind of humorous.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody's got their own different taste in humor. I kind of like more of a slapstick type. or like the roast type stuff. That's kind of always been fun for me.
I think Teal was one of the voices on Spirit Science. I think Teal and Blake did that, but I could be mistaken. She might not have been as, she had a different name. I think she was Teal's.
Like I said, that video was interesting.
Let's say even Tom Campbell, I watch his stuff a lot. I think there's a few things he either doesn't get or is attempting to protect his scientific credibility. He was a working physicist. He wasn't a PhD. He had a master's. He went through the all the schooling for PhD, but he didn't write his thesis. He went to work instead. But he moonlighted as a consciousness researcher at the Monroe Institute. And Bob Monroe was, by his own admission, kind of flaky, and he didn't know if he was crazy or not, and he had a buttload of money. So he created a little bitty research facility, and people basically came and slept on waterbed, heated waterbeds, and explored. They never used drugs, but they explored out-of-body experience mostly. What we'd call astral projection, remote viewing, healing. That's how he moonlighted, and after a while, it paid him well, and he learned a lot. He learned to meditate. He considered that to be his primary reason for keeping up with it. He spent so much time in what you call a meditative state, he hardly ever needed sleep. He could get by off 2 hours of sleep. And then after a while, he started to combine the two. He started to recognize that there is a logic to it. You're not just out there daydreaming. There's a logic to it. The data you get back, it can be rough and really hard to interpret, but it is real data. An accomplished remote viewer will, in fact, give you the information. It will be accurate. And that's been verified for so many years that that hasn't been up for debate in a lot of years, I should say. It works. Healing, it works. It can be demonstrated. The statistics are so far out of the range of just random chance. It's not even good science, good honest science would have to say it's as confirmed as anything we've ever confirmed. But yeah, the guy, that's what he did for a lot of years. And he combined the two. So he's one of the cutting edge that's combining the science and what we'd call mysticism. And making it make sense. That's why I asked you for your theory of everything, your toe. He kind of has one. And so I kind of poke at people with that every once in a while. I'm curious to hear what people's theory on how everything works is. It's interesting when you start to recognize the patterns and you realize that the pattern I see in a tree, in a lightning bolt, in a river, in my blood vessels, and even in the quantum fluctuations at the quantum scale. There are patterns that show in all scales. Those patterns are reality. That is the only reality. They're patterns. You can call them probabilities, but even probabilities need a something to be probable. The patterns are, if you really, really want to go as far into reality as logic can take you. I'm not saying this is necessarily literally true, but I kind of think it is. All you get is pattern. There's enough random noise at the tiniest scales that you can always perspective causes reality to come into existence. But then once perspective brings it into reality, the reality itself, this new reality, becomes conscious in its own right and starts to perceive itself, which creates, you end up with a fluid continuum of reality. There are no such thing as dimensions. There's no length, width, or height. That's just a mathematical way of mapping it. There's only a flow. Like people say 12th dimension. They mean a level. I know what they mean. And yes,
Right.
there is a way that is one of the patterns of how everything unfolds. Is it unfolds in levels. But it's no different than a fractal, a true, it's a process fractal. I thank you, Tom Campbell, for that phrase. I ripped it off directly from him. I think he gives permission to do this. It's a process fractal. It's not a geometric fractal, but it kind of works the same way. But combine that with a holographic principle, and you get a pattern of interference and interference patterns, which means quite literally, there's no place in the pattern that doesn't contain all of the data to reconstruct the rest of the pattern. The patterns do feedback as a new pattern. This is what gives us the 100th monkey effect, where enough people learn something and it eventually starts to manifest through the whole. People don't have to go and learn it individually. If enough people know it, and the percentage can be rather small, a fraction of a percent, I believe, it would be enough. If you consider how intelligent we are, a fraction of a percent could do it. And we're well over that, for sure. Where all of a sudden you'll notice this higher knowledge just starts trickling out of people you would never expect. What we'd normally consider the lowest level of consciousness people will start to manifest. They'll start to come through them.
Right.
So I don't think it's good to talk. We need to be doing this. It's not, I don't think the whole spray and pray mass marketing approach is the right way. I do believe that there's truth to people come to it. You don't have to push it out. You don't have to push it on them. You don't have to beat them in the face with it. It comes to them. You push a little bit, but it's a gentle push. If they seem open and you see that pushing can break through their boundaries, yeah, we can push like hell. But only when it's appropriate.
Right.
So it lets me know,
I mean,
kind of relax a little bit. I've known people that get bent right out of shape because they just can't. They've only hit a few million people. They want to hit the whole earth. They want everybody to know their name. Okay, maybe that's one way to do it for sure. But that just means that's probably going to bring in too much ego for it. The ego at some point is going to start to obscure the message.
Right.
It may still come out.
Because now you're more driven by having followers than bringing a real message.
And yet, if you,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Like me, I push for followers a little. I'm a little pushy at times about it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't market really. I just kind of, the notion will hit me and I go with it. I don't stress over not getting likes or anything anymore. I used to. It was kind of funny. I would sit and stare at the screen and keep refreshing things. Just waiting. How long until I get a like? Have you ever done that? Yeah.
I mean, for real, pretty much not anymore. I don't even go pay attention to my analytics anymore.
Yeah, that was kind of a funny stage. I laugh at myself now. I was ashamed.
I mean, yes, I would like to. I mean, I like to see this channel grow more, mainly just because for nights like tonight.
Yeah. Where
it's open discussion. I mean, every night's open discussion, but when I do an open discussion where any topics can be put on the table, I mean, like, dude. I mean, I tell people, go ahead if you want me to check out your channel, do a review on it. I mean, I used to just share a book review. Was it familiar with it? Do books. We used to do movie reviews and stuff. Just anything. That way we can cater to everyone. My stuff on this channel will always be more occult topics than anything because that's me. That's my everyday life.
Oh yeah, well we're both gonna, no matter what subject's thrown out there, we'll find a way to wrap that into the occult and esoteric knowledge.
I mean, just like AGERZ incoming. Guys, for those times where you need a release or you need to find flipped in energy, you're just feeling that, go to channels like his for the comedy, because then now you're using it as a tool to tap into that energy.
You never know. Two magicians at work, probably more behind the scenes that we don't know about. It's probably a synchronistic. Right. We'll probably find something in there that in some goofy way just happens to be the right thing, like cottage cheese.
Right. And actually, him by coming on asking that, he reminded me to share. If I'm going to discuss something, I want to also show you their channels. In most cases, there's a couple I won't show. Just because you can only do so much bashing.
Yeah.
Against other people's beliefs toward you're just now being a hypocrite. Yes, there's information to be found there, but it gets old every 5 minutes. You're blaming us for this when you have no idea.
Really?
In a sense, all they're doing is they claim to be awake, but in a sense, all they are is somebody else's tool, somebody else's puppet. Because yes, you might be speaking some truths, but you're still pushing a divide. It was just like, it's time to get onto my little rant. Just like this. Now that I got you, I'm sure you'll watch. What do you think of that image?
Let me switch over to it. I was on the... There we go. Which one? Oh, this one. Me?
What's your take on this image?
I'll start multi-layer.
Huh?
What I see, if I didn't see the leash on it, but even then, what I see is a very simple animal that can make some choices. It mostly acts, that animal isn't much higher than that drone. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. It's orders of magnitude more complex in its thinking. But that drone has humans behind it too. We've coded in an awful lot of intelligence. So what I see is a bird that sees another flying thing that its automatic system says, explore this possibility of a food source. Attack it.
Right, it's prey.
So I see an absolutely natural behavior. That's when I don't look at the words at all. Still from the woods, I see a symbol of ancient symbol, the hawk. The generic bird of prey. Attack. This is where I kind of agree with you in a sense. I can see this as it is attacking, and this is where I do see the leash. Which I'm almost certain. I guess that is a leash.
It is a leash.
Yeah. Somebody's in a falconry.
Talon.
Okay. Yeah.
Upper part of his leg.
Yeah, I see it. It's dangling down there in between the two. A bird of prey at the command of someone else, taking out someone else's ability to express their freedom, taking out someone's joy. Now, it could be an accident. The person that could be that could be, the guy with the falcon may have his wife or his son over there operating the drone to take pictures of it. He may be wanting to catch his bird catching another bird, and the bird went after his own drone instead. That's the realistic me, just looking at what is the fact that's represented by this. Now, when I go to add meaning, that's why I already did a little bit. When I look at the words, America awakens, globalism destroyed, I see a misunderstanding, a misapplication, I should say, of the word globalism. So at that level, I can't even parse this. I can't parse this phrase. That's where it doesn't come into my belief system at all. That's my filter. That it gets blocked. The person misused the word. I can't go further, but my emotions can. Logically, I can't go any further with it because I consider it's invalid on its face. Now, the emotion that it causes me to feel, on one hand is yes, America awakens, globalism destroyed. Actually, no, I can't. I cannot make that phrase match the image.
No, once you throw that leash in there, it
Yeah.
kills the whole thing.
I can see what other people would get from it. And we can see, we can
other
break down
people don't even see the leash.
Yeah, this is an intentional meme. This is a rather complex sigil, in fact. It's a good one.
Yeah.
I would consider it, as far as skill level, moderate to high. That's a proper meme. It causes cognitive dissonance, if I were to say anything, just to keep it generic and abstract. Everybody's going to get their own meanings out of this, I'm pretty sure. But this is someone who has their own particular way they want to twist it. So yeah, I can see its intended effect.
But for one, I'll state now, I don't know what the person's intent when they created this, but this is a meme, guys. This is sigil magic.
And it creates a polarity. It wants to divide people into this opinion or that opinion, and not much middle ground.
And if you look at it, you get the polarity with the black and white feathers.
Yep.
Which
I would say this is put together by a person that supports globalism, or wants you to believe they do.
Right.
I think it's bait. Well, obviously, it's bait.
I mean, person's intent. The more I thought about it, the person's intent could be just this: what we're doing right now, to sit here and discuss it, talk about it.
Yeah, especially if it's on Occult News Network. Wait a minute, who is
But what throws it off is when you put America Awakens, globalism destroyed, and you have this bird who is shackled, slave, anywhere you want to put, it's shackled, attacking a drone that was filming. That does not represent what the words are saying. No way, no how can it represent that.
Now, is that in a broken shackle, maybe?
What now?
That just came to me. When you release the bird, the only thing that makes it come back is you've made it more beneficial for it to come back than to go away. Or you've programmed it in some way.
You've programmed the bird by that leash. That's why you never take the leash off your birds, or anybody that's actually worked with birds, like falcons. And one, that's just a mockery, because that's not actually a hawk, that's an eagle.
Okay.
I've actually read the article on this, guys, from Occult News Network. There's other articles about this. Government's training these birds to take down people's drones that are...
Oh, they actually are training them.
Yep. Yeah, they are being trained. So I actually know more into this. That's what pissed me off when I seen David Griffin post this in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Okay.
Just because you put words on there, American Awakened, Globally Destroyed, that image and everything in it does not represent that.
Okay.
You are taking a meme somebody else created. Your intentions might be good.
No, that would be a grub. If your
intentions are really good, you might want to put more color than white to make it flashy so it stands out. But the bottom line is, this is wrong, because now people look at it, they're charging it. Now they're seeing this, okay, this is acceptable. It's destroying globalism. No, it's not. It's destroying the people out there. It's streaming, bringing you real news, real truth that they don't want you to see. They want you to keep tuning into CNN, ABC, NBC, and all them to get your news. This is what this image represents. But the more it's in your face, the more you see it, and people start doing this, the more it's acceptable. This is what memes and sigil magic, how powerful they really are. They put this image in your mind, and people like me to come around and see it. It's like, whoa, wait, hey, hold up, and break it down for you. But the problem is, I'm breaking it down, and I only got me and Chris watching the stream as we're going on. Most of these videos only get up to 23 views, so nobody's getting the message.
Now, is that a government? That would be a government drone. That would be, or would that be like an Amazon drone? No, that looks like a spy drone of some sort.
That's an Amazon drone. Or it's one of the drones you can buy from a hobby center. I think it's probably from Amazon. Though.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's got a
So
nice
that's
camera
private
outfit on it. So it's got money in it.
Okay. I don't know. That's why I say I don't see how globalism is properly represented here.
No, it's not. Especially when you're saying it's destroyed. It's showing the opposite.
Yeah. My guess, to be honest, if I were to guess, I would say it creates what's the term? A false dichotomy. I think that image sets up a false either-or situation.
Right.
But it could be well done. It divides in a couple of different ways. Whatever. That's why it's hard for me to fall for the memes.
Right. I mean, like I said, normally I overlook them, but I've just been on the subject. I've seen what it represented, and as I looked at it and broke it down, it's like, oh shit, wait, that's psychological warfare. Yeah. Just like, you know, anybody's tuned into Facebook here of late, one of the main ads on your main page is Facebook offering for you to become reporters and stop fake news and help, but I'm happy. I'm seeing more and more people that finally are actually, they see something posted and then they're asking, can somebody fact check this for me?
Oh yeah, that's good.
And a lot of this stuff's that's good. I'm glad to see that, especially from some of the ones that just keep putting this stuff out there like it's true. But that's how they do it. They put these images out there that look, I mean, that one in all sense looks harmless. Read the words. But when you start breaking it down and you don't realize there's actually a news story behind it, like I said, I can't tell you what his intentions were when he posted this. I'm sure it was probably beneficial, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then again, this is also somebody that's been promoting division in our communities. As soon as he goes talk about doing great work inside the groups, let's do a great work. But as soon as somebody that has a little bit different teaching offers some information or wants to help, it's into an argument about who's right, who's wrong. You follow more of a mysticism way. This is ritual, and that's the problem with these things. And a lot of us that do know how. I mean, like me, do I use them? Yes. Why? Because every image depicts what my broadcast is. There's meaning inside that image, whether I realize it when we created them or not. My subconscious chose those fucking images for a reason. And we, manipulated them.
It's no different than using, our regular speaking language.
Right.
It's not that we're using words or not. You don't say because someone lied to somebody that all of a sudden words are outlawed now. You cannot speak. You cannot write. I mean, it would make no sense. We all use symbols. Letters are symbols.
Right.
That's the intent behind them. And part of it's the effect. You can have one intent, but it has a different effect. You have to make your intent and your effects line up in alignment with each other. That's why alignment with truth is so important. At least as close as a person can get, given the limitations of our senses. There is a truth that can be experienced. And it's important to experience what you can of the truth. With the understanding you can never know an absolute truth. There are no such things. We're not that evolved yet, and probably never will be. But you can at least see as much as you can see. It's simple observation. Observe with everything you've got, all of your senses, and don't really judge it while you're observing it. At some point, it will become obvious. I've experienced enough. Now it's time to decide. What am I going to do?
I've just reached that point where, I'm starting to see more and more through the patterns, everything's standing out. And it's like I just
Mm-hmm.
scroll past stuff. It's like I call it for what it is. I mean, I didn't have to sit there and stare for hours. It was just some instant looks like, oh, something's not right about this image. And the message you're trying to say.
Yep.
You know, it's like, but it was good to have Chris bring his opinions on it. I mean, he's seen it differently than I did.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw it the same way.
You know, and most people.
I saw it exactly the same way at one level. Actually, a couple of different levels. I've never really counted them on things like this, but I have with other things. I think there's 5, maybe 7 levels to everything. You've got a surface level, and you've got where most people get their perspectives. So you've got like sometimes 4 different perspectives at one level on the surface. Then you can get deeper, and you can get deeper and deeper and deeper. And you've always got a simple level. What is the reality of what I'm looking at? This is a picture that was taken. The real actual event that happened was a bird was taking down a drone. If I know, I didn't know this fact actually at first until you told me. I haven't read this article. That it's a trained bird, trained to do what it's doing. That adds a second meaning. So I know why the bird would be doing what it's doing. It's been taught that it's going to get something to eat, I guarantee you, for getting that drone.
Right.
So to the bird, it's just getting a bite to eat. But then I got to look at, well, why in the hell would somebody train it to do that? That's where the story is. Now I got another level I can work at. What's the purpose? The purpose is to take out this drone. And what kind of a drone is this? A private drone. But is it a commercial drone? Is it a government drone? See, I'd have to ask that question.
Right. There's many levels on that question.
Yeah. Now at the surface level, yeah, I see it and I'm thinking, part of me wants to go, yeah, knock them dead. Fucking globalists. Kill them. That kind of thing. You got that side. Then the other part of me says, wait a minute, no, you're wrong. And then, so I can, if I choose, see it like that. I can kind of get what a lot of people, that's my guess at what other people would get out of it. I can't really muster those feelings too much anymore. I don't stay at it's either this side or it's that side kind of a level on it. It's why liberals think I'm conservative, conservatives think I'm liberal. I get, it can be funny at times how people try to pigeonhole me. But you don't pigeonhole a bobcat. They'll just steal all your pigeons.
Right. Just like I said, I don't know. I'm seeing more and more of these things, and it's trying to wake people up to, hey, memes are can be a very dangerous thing if you're not aware of what's in place. Most people will see it, okay, then they see it actually happen in real life, and then they remember, oh, this is defeating globalism, so it's okay.
Well, the memes.
No, it's not okay.
The memes basically do the same thing that bird's doing. They train them to do something.
Right.
They're just looking at what goodie am I going to get out of this? What emotional feel good am I going to get out of this? What pay am I going to get out of this? What, if a person gets to side with a group that they think is powerful, that empowers them, it could be, but that's usually a false empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mob mentality, some put it. But I prefer not to use such a derogatory term. If I've got somebody that's in a mob mentality, the last thing I want to do is say they're in a mob mentality. That just strengthens it. It actually does more harm than good. So it's not so much about being gentle with them, but you have to understand, like the snowflake idea, concept, that label. If you've got somebody that fits that description, if your goal is to communicate with them, whether you agree or disagree, you're going to have to get to their level to a degree. Okay, if they are easily triggered, unless you want to trigger them, unless you want to cause more chaos for some reason, then it makes more sense. If the goal is actual real communication, like it or not, that's what you've got to deal with. And that may mean that sometimes I find I just can't put certain things a certain way, talk to the person that won't set them off. And sometimes I'll just do I'll man up and say, I'm sorry. I'll even say, you're right. I'm sorry. I need to go work on myself. I'm an asshole. You're right. Have a good day. Goodbye. You know, so it's not really giving in to them, and I don't want to feed it. And I don't think that's a wise thing to do either. Because when you get right down to it, the snowflakes are not nearly as snowflakey as we think.
Well, let's look at the snowflake. What
It
is
gives
a
them
snowflake?
something they can use. Like a lot of people they may have a mild mental illness, but they'll play it up. Or they may have a bad knee, and it doesn't really hurt them as much as they say it does. You know, kind of that sort of, I think there's a lot of that going on too. They're finding an excuse to get away with screaming and acting like children.
Well, I mean, calling them snowflakes, actually a bad terminology. What is a snowflake? A snowflake, for anybody that's ever studied the science of snowflakes, because there is a science of it, it's a fractal. No snowflake looks, everyone is different.
Mm.
You will never find two snowflakes that look the same. It's impossible.
Well, in that respect, we're all snowflakes then.
Right.
But yeah, it is. It is a beautiful crystalline structure, actually.
You know, just like it goes back to, you know, what you're saying, chaos. Well, that's actually what it is. It's a bunch of people that's not really been taught the things that some of us older people were taught back in the day. You know, they're easier manipulated. They're more reliant on tech, which is nothing wrong with tech, as me and Chris has pointed out. It's another tool. It's another ritual tool.
Well, that does bring us to an interesting point for those who tend to work more towards order and I will hesitantly use the term the light side, because I'm kind of in the dark side sometimes too. But it's all kind of more towards what I would call kind of a higher light, but it's light. It's the light. I work towards the light. I just put it that way. I'm a light worker. I'll use that term. That also means that they don't have a lot of the older programming, the strictness of mind.
Right.
And for a lot of us, that's what we try to do, but we consider it an intermediate stage. So it may just be a matter of we have to accept that they're going through a stage that's going to last a generation or two, 20 to 40 years, where they're acting this way because they're grabbing at low-hanging fruit because they're lost. But that means obstacles too. They just don't know quite. They still got belief. They still react to what's in front of them. And by being basically so easily shaped, and I'm entirely confident of this, by the way, is why I don't share other people's concern in one aspect. I think we're moving towards the lighter side of things naturally. It just looks like hell. And there are definite dark periods. They can last a long time. But we're moving more towards the light every day. And I have a strong feeling that side will prevail. And as easily as they adopt to this more chaotic way, as easily as they've adopted to darker ways in the past, I think that maybe they will go through a dark phase. Maybe we all will. And, we'll have either absolute chaos or a tyrannical regime just take over the entire planet for a time. I think even if that were to happen, in both cases, it would still tend. The people themselves would be tending more towards a slightly more mature way. But think of all the times in our personal lives that to get to maturity, we had to have almost a weird kind of a breakdown where we just quit giving a shit. We quit trying to exercise self-control and go kind of wild for a time. It's necessary to break some of that strictness. So I don't think that's all so bad. But I do think it's important for us to to see that as, okay, well, that is the state of things, but it still has to be reined in a little bit. We have to, you know, people work hard. This time, people got to buckle down, and whatever feels right for each person. And if they're doing the wrong thing, they may come up against somebody else that thinks they're wrong and can even prove or demonstrate. And so a person can mean a light intent and get a dark result. And, you know, the real world puts them in check sometimes. But there's a lot of wiggle room. I figured that out about this reality. There's an awful lot of wiggle room. A lot of evil can be done and people get away with it. They don't suffer any karmic repercussions. That's why they have other people do it for them. But for another person to do that evil, the person has to either be oblivious to it or willing to do it. And you find a lot of people that pretend to be victims and they were forced into evil, wanted to do it. And so, yes, I would say our governments and everything do accurately represent where we're at. It's a good meter. It's like your speedometer, your fuel gauge, your oil temperature.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's quite accurate, actually. I mean, but it also comes down to the point where I kind of like how Teal also put it. She put it as, you know, sometimes us as teachers have a tendency to teach that way too.
Yeah. And sometimes, to be exactly opposite,
false.
Sometimes I believe this too. Every once in a while, a person needs to get punched in the face, maybe even literally. Mm-hmm. There are times that somebody's so far out of line, and there's times that people just won't listen. That's why I said it's very important that we do the hard work, that we see it that way, but then we come back and kind of appear to be hypocrites and say, no, you are wrong, and I'm going to fight this fight. I'm not going to fight those trivial fights. I'm going to fight this one. I'm not going to go looking for a fight. But no, you people are doing harm, and in the same way that I would stand armed against people coming after my family, every once in a while something is bad enough. You gotta throw down sometimes.
Right.
Hard.
See, I get the privilege. I have taught students, so I look back on my first couple students. You know, now I said back, man, I wish I had just taught them differently. It'd have been easier. They would have understood. And that's what I see what's going on. We're living in a different time of age where our teaching structures need to be revisited and relooked at. Instead of hiding certain facts like titles and titles on things, we need to take that out of our system. Yes. We need to let our students guide the way in the directions they want. Because that's actually one way I teach. I don't care what side you want to go, which way the path you want to go, wherever I feel you're drawn to. I'm going to let you learn that. You're still going to learn the other.
Exactly.
But I will bring it when the time is right. The student will tell me when they're ready for something new, or I will be able to dangle it in front of them, and it'll catch their attention because it's that time. But I also break out from any student that I've had since my first two. They were taught instantly. These are just tools. These are training wheels, basically. So, you know, throughout, you know, you need to learn them. There's a reason why you're going to learn them. It's a process. It's the repetition of learning the aspects and properties of these items that are already a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first few lessons, I'm already teaching them right off the bat. There is no such thing as light and dark. There's no such thing as good and evil. It is the person's intent. The most evilest person can have the goodest intentions and can do great work, but it's good.
Yeah.
But yet you call it evil because he's a Satanist. He follows the left-hand path. Wrong, guys.
I would like to give Darth Vader my take on Darth Vader for a minute, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. While you're doing that, I'm going to grab something to drink. Actually,
Cool.
I want to hear this too, so. But go ahead. I'll catch you. Back up.
Okay. Now that the most of the story of Darth Vader has been told and Anakin, it's kind of obvious that the prophecies and the things that, like Yoda, what he saw about, this guy's going to restore balance to the Force. In a sense, the way I would describe this is, well, first let me go back. Let me go back to what happened. Here's Anakin. He did have a lot of fear, but he was the equivalent of he was a Force birth. The seed is somehow, the metaphor is self-seeding, by the way. There's a masculine and a feminine aspect of self-seeding, but that's the metaphor. But it's the Force impregnated her. That was a virgin birth. Anakin's born. He's really brilliant, really good, but he's got a lot of fear because he grew up a slave. He's a real dude. I mean, he grew up a really hard life, and that gave him a big ego. Then those raiders or the desert people got his mother, and he slaughtered them. He got in touch with his animal self quick, learned he liked it. And his intellect, I guarantee you what happened is his intellect, instead of deciding that this is something I should tame, said, wow, this is a source of real power. When I'm in this state of mind, I have no limitations. I have no trivial emotions like compassion. I have just blind rage and emotion like that. What this did is it created such a huge ego that it blocked the higher self. It blocked the light side of the Force. This would have made him appear the purest dark, but gave the light a back door. Since it was created through the fear of his own blood being killed, that primal drive, the higher self could safely basically abandon it, knowing that because his son survived, at some point he would be faced with a more primal fear than any fear he had. He would actually come to the source. He'd come full circle. Now it's him killing his own blood. He couldn't do it. That's when he opened up, and what manifested immediately after that was the purest of the light side. He did restore balance. He threw the emperor down into a pit. Luke was just a tool. Luke wasn't a hero at all. Luke, it could be said that Luke never made a choice anywhere in that movie. He was wrapped up in a flow that he couldn't have changed it if he wanted to. Even the Jedi Masters couldn't see the flow. It was that deep. The Force itself set itself in a way of writing its own self by it. That could have been a physical world play out of the core, the first division, when the all itself decided there's me and not me. All it did was carve a piece of itself off and pretend it's not itself. And that's my take on Darth Vader. Darth Vader went through a long, hard path, and in a sudden burst of a realization so deep it had nothing whatsoever to do with his own personality even. A deeper force was at play. It's just, he happened to be the one with the right kind of personality to play that part. That's why, as you said, you don't care what a person's path is. I've trained some really dark-sided people. I've never had anybody I'd call a proper student, but I've trained some people in specific things, knowing what they're going to do with it. But something in me, I do this like, I get my higher self in touch with theirs in a kind of a way. And I listen to my heart says, this is okay. Teach this person this. They're going to use it in an evil way. But there's something deeper at play here. And sometimes I get this feeling that says no. Not only that, I might want to, quietly reach over and grab something just in case I got to, beat this crazy SOB off of me. What that tells me is somebody can be following their true will. their egoless will, even through their ego. Even if I have to come into opposition to their ego self, even if their ego triggers my ego, even if I hate them, that means nothing in this. And I think that's what Darth Vader was representing.
Oh yeah, but they also go, I mean, you can take that even deeper. Just to the simple fact that, you guys, I mean, nature is a prime example of that thing. Our universe is a prime example of it. You have both. You have to have both. That's why the idea of utopia is a fallacy. You can't have a perfect utopia because you have to have both.
Yeah, well, we would, at some
part
point,
of us.
What is a utopia to us today after time would become a hell that we'd want to escape?
Right.
What it does is it allows us to raise ourselves to such a level we could, if we don't have to worry about our physical needs anymore, then we can look and we'll see there are other obstacles to our growth that we can now tackle that we didn't even see before. I don't think there is an end to it. So I agree. There is no utopia. There's always a state we can say, well, we could be better. We're always going to see, well, we don't do this right. Maybe we're better than we were yesterday, but we don't do this right. I don't believe.
Right, and here's what happens.
No, that's all. I agree. I don't believe in a utopia either.
Right, I mean, because here's what happens, guys. When you start doing this, when you start putting emphasis on labels, something has to come up to make sure everything's in balance. Here's where the only time balance has a meaning. You have to have both sides. When one side gets stronger, a force comes along and raises up the other, no matter which side it is. The natural process will never let one side overtake the other.
Right. It can, but it's very dynamic. It's not perfect. Right. It's always jittering around every level. But there's only so far things can go.
Here's the other thing. You know, I say the idea of utopia is impossible. Here's where the idea of utopia can be plausible or feasible even, and take it from being a fallacy to something that's real. When everybody wakens up and understands this very concept that we just discussed, and they realize both have to be, we have to have both, then you can start getting more harmony. It's not balance, it's harmony.
Yes.
Where everything's flowing naturally and rhythmically, and there's no discord between the two.
Much better term, harmony.
You know, hence where, you know, we end up getting the equation signed. You have to have two numbers to get, well, something. Whether it be A over B, which equals C, there is an equation there. Through the process, you harmonize the process to get the outcome. I mean, like I said, I break everything down into an occultic aspect. It's when we start causing our own conflicts by giving titles of importance, because that's what a title is. When you give something a title, it's of importance. It's been used through centuries. Used even today. Poor, middle class, rich, wealthy, super rich, elite.
Yeah.
You know, white collar, blue collar. We use this to cause separation and division. I mean, when they said, "Oh, we're Democrats or a Republic," we don't practice the caste system. Yes, you do. You just call it by a different name and give it different titles.
Yeah,
we still have a king. We still have a queen.
It's practice.
We still have a monarchy.
The caste system is
just different names.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just gonna say it's just different names to the same damn thing. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's the caste system is practiced socially and backed up at certain levels in government. I mean, they certainly push for it, but that's where the concept of covert as opposed to overt slavery. Or instead of visible slavery, it's an occult slavery. It's occulted. It's shrouded. You get you convince the people to choose it.
Mm-hmm.
And people like to say they're better than others. And if you notice, the people that identify as poor, let's say, they like to say they're better than rich because the rich people don't know what it's like to suffer. And they consider that a badge of honor. I don't consider either to be a badge of honor. I consider a person's state of financial security, maybe it represents a stage of growth, but nothing more, any more than recognizing one person's 10, one's 20, and one's 70. It's an indicator of growth, maybe, but there's so many factors involved, it's almost meaningless. And and that's where I don't agree with people owning their labels. If you know how to use a label, they can be useful. You can use it to statistically analyze things, and I think that's important that we do that. This is what gives us hard fact to work with. But it has to be done properly and scientifically, where you know what kind of an error you're going to get. You know that you're you're working with a model and not the real thing. When a person owns, like let's say a person owns the label ADHD. They say, I have ADHD. That's what I mean owning it. Have is a term that means I possess this. It's mine. Now they have to have an idea of what ADHD is, and it starts a feedback process where they'll start to reinforce it and become more so what that label tells them they should be. As their understanding of the label matures, their behavior matures. Maybe they grow out of the label and choose not to. I've seen that happen a lot. But another one that's even worse is I am ADHD. That's when a person will actually start to embody their concept of what it is. That's where they're almost in the realm of hopelessness. There can be no hope for a person that actually thinks they don't understand the true power of an I am statement. I am is the ultimate statement of magic or manifestation. And to say I am is a step further than to say I have. And so I don't agree with people owning the labels. Sometimes in common usage, we use the terms even though we don't really.
Right, we don't realize.
We don't own the label, but that's reacts as if you make a statement in your head, your subconscious has no choice but to try to make that happen. It doesn't care if it's a negative statement or a positive. And through your subconscious, it will start to make the universe manifest it.
Right. No, so in a sense, I mean, a lot of sense, we got to deprogram ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We're deprogramming all the BS, the illusions, the false concepts and realities. You know, that's pretty much what all my video series are really about, is helping you re-educate yourself, relearn, but with the right tools, the right information, not cryptic. Sometimes, yes, I can be cryptic, but if I'm being cryptic, there's a reason for it. And very seldom, have you heard anything I've said lately has been cryptic?
I have my...
But it is a tool. Just like when I state that I am, it's true.
Yeah.
It's a statement of intent. It's a state of mind. Within that, I am of all things, and all things are of me. And through me, all things will be created or uncreated.
In a sense, it also means I choose expression.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah, that's not actually a proper, it's a halfway proper statement of intent. Yeah, I am that I am. That's the ultimate.
But like you pointed out, good. Subconsciously, you guys might not realize consciously when you say something. Your subconscious might hear that, say, wait, and then you start causing a conflict.
Yes.
But the more you start repeating it, now here comes repetition, guys, or the more you keep hearing it, it's sinking in. So therefore, it's starting to come into you, and it's becoming a part of you.
Yep.
And it's probably something more than likely you don't want a part of you. And that's why I always say, right.
When people view, and I've viewed a lot of it myself, and part of the reason I kind of got away from it, and I love death metal, but I had to get away from it for a while. In horror movies, all that stuff. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between real and imaginary. It does not distinguish between the two. If you see murder on television or even a YouTube video, your subconscious your subconscious reacts to this the same way as if you actually saw it. If you view yourself in a position of violence, being a character in a game, killing other people, your subconscious, that actually registered, that does accomplish the mental aspect of breaking a person's personality down, destroying them, and rebuilding a killer. That's how it's done in the military and has been for many thousands of years, if not tens of thousands. You traumatize a person into a schism. Part of personality splits and get buried in this conscious, an extreme duality. The part of them that likes to be peaceful is suppressed. This allows you to pump the aggressive part to the limits of their being. I mean, you can push that past the point where their body will self-destruct. And there's a use for that even. I can see why some people would choose that path to allow themselves to be broken down that way. As long as they're, this is an unfortunate part of our reality. As long as one side separates off from the rest of us and decides to do harm to us, we would cease to exist if we didn't defend ourselves. So we do,
right.
Even the light side needs its people that can essentially become automatons. But now we have the ability, because those light side people tend to be way more, and people are gonna disagree with me on this. A lot of people are gonna take this negatively, and I can't even apologize for it. The lighter side type of people tend to be less chaotic, more orderly, more cooperative, and their technology is always and has always been superior, even if they're under the control of darker people. So you get this kind of weird situation where you do end up with very powerful people controlling the light side people, just because the light side people would cease to exist if they didn't. So yes, you do have that power dynamic there, but they tend to be more cooperative, and they tend to actually, when dark side people try to manipulate the light side people that way, they end up more on the light side in themselves. But the higher light, not the kind of the lighter perspective, they can start even still be a little dark and a little evil, but they'll just start to drift towards pushing everything towards a more orderly, more peaceful place where we can progress. And so sometimes if a person wants to stay evil and be dominant, one of the worst things they can do is try to control the light side. Just by being the way they are from their higher perspective, they change everything that comes into contact with them, even if it's their own killer. They will change that person. So there's my little rambling on that one. Sorry about that. I just went off on a tangent there.
Well, I mean, there's another way to look at it. Look at that description, the way you describe that is one side, they don't, when somebody brings up a radical thought or a radical idea, in that sense, that's a radical practice.
Mm-hmm.
Hinges on what the other side would normally think or conceive of, so that they create a conflict. Well, through that conflict, learning takes place. Higher levels of understanding becomes as they look and debate or the technique that was used. But at the same point, it's needed to push that learning and another process to reach another higher state of understanding. But you have to remember that in order to see the light, you have to walk through darkness. It takes me back to the meditation exercise I did and explained when I brought up how I used the tree of life for a meditation exercise. When I reach Keter, and when I get ready to come down, when I'm coming down, I'm actually walking the Quickla. I'm aligning both so they flow naturally. In a sense, when you come down, that's what you're doing. You're walking the opposite side, as above, so below. It does not mean you're dealing or working in the evil, the bad, the negative. No, I'm aligning what's already inside me to flow naturally. Once you start doing that, once you start realizing that, there is no differentiating between the two because they're all natural. So when you do something, now it's just based on your intent. Yes, your intent can be viewed and will be viewed if you do it maliciously for no reason at all. Just to do it, you're a bad apple. And when you start saying, well, that's because what? No, you're denying all aspects, and therefore you're creating a divide in yourself, another block that's allowing that to happen. You must be able to do both. You must be able to embrace both. You must look at both as one. Then you start bringing in the other outside energies, the elementals. You integrate them to the positive and negative force, because every elemental energy has an opposite too. You see this dual process in everything. It's when you start bringing them together, not looking at the positive and negative, realizing that they are one and combining it with the other energies a part of you. That's when you start to fully awaken. That's when you start to see the patterns, come to a higher understanding that you're restricting yourself in some ways. Because in the end, it's all about intent. It's not about light or dark. Because we've seen what people of the light intention, their intentions may be pure when it comes to dealing with something a little bit darker, but they're just as quick to do dark things in their intent because they see that as it's dark, it's harmful. The only harmful part of it is what they're doing to themselves. Instead of awakening and seeing that little just a little bit I just said, awakening and seeing that little truth that even their goodest intentions, when they turn around and want to bash, attack, same damn energy that you're bitching about and calling dark. It's just your intentions. It's your so-called intent is saying it's otherwise. So, don't, and you get caught up in this conundrum of going back and forth when it should be flowing freely for you. Then, therefore, when that person does something, you'll recognize the energies. You'll recognize what his intent was. Then, if his intent was for that type of reason, then he will be judged. He'll be judged by his own people because they are aware enough to say, hey, you just stepped out of line. Because there is those bad apples who will use this type of situation to do things. It's nature. Nature shows us every time. The simplicity of nature. Go back to the image I showed you. It's a bird of prey. But at the same token, it can be loving, motherly, affection, protecting. We have all those aspects inside us. Because I remember before, I used to state, I don't fear nothing, which was quite true back in those times. I didn't fear anything. But as you get older, make connections, realize how much your actions affect others, and then you start picking up on, oh, wait, if I do this, it's not going to really come back and hurt me, but yeah, no. Aware. And it's also pushing those ideas. But when I'm completely aligned, really in that state where everything's one, there's no differentiating of anything, everything's flowing as it's supposed to, I'm not worried about repercussions because there will be none. Because what I had done only is going to affect what I targeted. Whether it be for healing, harming, bringing about justice, or anything you want to label to that intent. It's only going to go there and nowhere else.
Accuracy and specificity.
Right.
I got a piece of paper with it written on it. I printed it up a long time ago, right in front of me all the time. Specificity matters. And I still fail at it, but I try like hell. And I just had sorry about that. I had to drop out for a few minutes. I had a candle started leaking all over the place. A big pillar, and it burned through the side.
And actually for us, where I think we do get a lot of, I'll just call them zealots because that's what they are. Just are determined that this is the only side that matters. This is the only side I'm going to work at. And they deny such a thing else. Yes, they radiate that. They think they're that. But when somebody like me and Chris or others see that, we see them just for what they are, weak.
Yeah. Then
Why?
we kind of get on
We got a big bullseye on your back. Pointing out that huge chink in the armor you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's also, hence why we're taught not to allow our egos to run rampant. Not to get God complexes, because when you get God complexes, you kind of take on those states.
Yep.
You become basically a narcissist. You know, you take on that mindset, and then truthfully, you pretty much allowed yourself to be possessed anyway, because you've blocked yourself so much that your soul can't speak.
Yep.
That's
Control
the danger of.
Do it for you.
Yep. That's the danger of this practice that's been taught far too long in our communities of light and dark. Seen both.
Yeah.
I mean, with the training wheels on, when you got your training wheels on, yes, you slowly integrate them into each, but you also find the points where it's time to learn the other. So they're being taught both, being able to experience both.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and most people, one side's going to be more dominant at first anyway. Me, my darker side was dominant. So, and actually my teacher wouldn't even teach me anything dark. Nope, you already know that, you learned this. I had no choice in the matter. Because all those tools are already there. Then later, as I progressed and learned and awoke in those other sides, then I was able to, oh, okay, now I see. Now I know how to use this properly.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's less chaos around me. Not really. There's always chaos around me because I like chaos, but It's a controlled chaos instead of a wild, uncontrolled
It's kind of like
forest fire.
once you learn to create patterns, once you learn to make shapes with Legos, now you can throw a whole, a couple of buckets on the floor, a huge pile of chaos, and you can create order out of it.
Right.
It's
I mean,
not
if
the
anybody's
chaos
ever,
itself. Chaos becomes a raw material for order.
I mean, right. If anybody's ever watched me work on cars and stuff, or art projects, or whatever I'm doing, or if you take a look at my computer desk, everything's everywhere. But I know where everything's at. You organize it, I will not be able to find a single thing. Hours and sometimes days looking for something. It's probably right in front of me, but it's in an organized state. It's not where I just haphazardly tossed it.
If a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what is an empty desk a sign of?
Mm-hmm. And the fact that, I'm always working on something. Even while I'm talking here doing these, I'm working on something else. It's a little bit harder since when I'm sharing screens like this so I can see my chat. I can't actually work on anything on the computer, but then again, I got a laptop set up. I might jump over to the laptop and do something, look something up. Draw a notepad with a pen nearby, kind of out of arm's reach. So if I want to jot something down, but then it goes the aspect my mind is always working on something. I'm thinking, as we're discussing these things, I'm thinking about next week's topics, what I'm going to do. I'm working on certain other things for my other channel that I'm getting ready to do. I'm wanting to do a truth portal. Just things that I've been seeing and want to discuss. Some patterns that I've seen there. Plus all the occult stuff that I've been bringing you and going to keep bringing you because there's so much to bring. I mean, I've got several grimoires worth of stuff, but just from my own knowledge. And I even got into the stuff that I've done that's not written down. Why? Because every day we're learning something new anyway. Experimenting with something, seeing something, learning something. And as I do, and I experiment with them, kind of discuss them. I mean, I'd ask if anybody's got any questions or anything they'd like to talk about. But tonight seems to be one of those nights. Seems to be one of those nights we're just getting a few stragglers here and there, and they just hop in for a little bit and hop right out.
That's probably for us. Well, I got a cat popping in and out too.
Which is okay.
My head's still, the weather is wacky. It still got me. I feel great. I'm just stuffy.
And actually, I know a lot of people are actually sick too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the beauty of the way YouTube, this tool YouTube gives us. I mean, once we've done the stream, it's up. You guys can check or whenever you're drawn to it. So, like I said, don't bother. That's why I don't even bother with, who's viewing and stuff. Just because, hey, somebody AGERZ income, yes, he wanted his channel, somebody just to help him out with, grow his channel a bit. It's cool. Yes, we was able to turn even his channel and bring up the occult properties and aspects of why his stuff he does is just important. Because, hey, we might need a certain type of energy. Now we know where to go. Shit, he does some decent parodies and comedy stuff. Go check it out. That'll get my energy up real quick. Plus, what are these video streams? They're another form of memes. The more people watch it, the more energy gets channeled into them that we now can tap into.
Yeah, kind of like, I'm getting it now. That blue oh, seahorse with shades.
You know, like I said, do a little bit of everything on here. Something been needing to do. I need to revisit something I haven't revisited in a while that I want to share with everybody. Maybe. Like I said, my computer's running super slow today for some odd reason. Oh, it's running slow enough.
Mine outright seized up. Oh, I think it was our first or second fault. I think it was our second fault. Seized up so hard I had to power it down manually. Did it come up? Did I miss it?
It finally came up. I'm having a hard time accessing anything to it right now.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't cropped those images of those. I need to crop those. Some of that I want to make public. My sigil is a teaching tool too. I learned so much in how to do sigils a different way with it. It kept telling me to make it. Now it makes some sense why. It made perfect sense to turn a personal working, a personal working towards its pledge to the local area here. So in a sense, I've kind of anchored myself to a place, but it could change. It's not an immutable kind of a sigil. It's a living one. But there's a way of working with it. There's different levels to it. And to show those properly would be easiest if I some of those levels actually mapped out to how I created the graphic. The original was just the straight lines, those two bars with the what looks like a mangled cross in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sigil itself. And it's about to get collapsed into something that's going to look like a flying goose, stylized goose. That happens to be the only sigil I've ever done in my life where I forgot a letter. I'm meticulous with them. And I've spent so long and I missed that letter. And that made sense. It was still gestating. There was a lot of foundation work to do. It couldn't be creative yet. Discovering that is the letter C, and the way the C lines up on the magic square, it pops through. That crescent shape is it popped. That peeks through the whole crescent there, and the C comes down and pops through it. And so I metaphorically, it actually pops out of the whole, the violet or purple vesica in the center. It almost literally breaks the water. I found that to be interesting. Like I said, the sigil created itself as much as I created it. I kind of wondered if I had gotten myself possessed there for a while, but I didn't. I was just experiencing an aspect of my own true self. I guess you could say I'd allowed my to possess me. But it was my own. It's nothing outside of me in that respect. Oh, Windcat Cross.
Yeah, good friends of mine from Boone, North Carolina. But they started up their own little craft store. It's kind of cool. They've got some interesting stuff. You know, from time to time I'll come back here and revisit and advertise it for them. But yeah, in fact, I'll just go right straight to their About Me. Then I'll show some of their new stuff they've got posted. Mooncats Crafts. You can, like I said, these guys are awesome. Some of their artwork, some of their stuff, the crafts that they make are awesome. Crazy cats coming together to bring you a variety of accessories from cosplay to everyday. We are a combination of broke college crafters, Bordor and Blood, and witch wishes. Together we go to different conventions and sell our variety of items, which include steampunk rings, decorative heels, horns for hair, and for special effects purpose, nerdy jewelry, upcycled jewelry, and wood carvings. Constantine is our makeup artist who also makes a bunch of sweet accessories. Chad is our tomcat who does the woodwork and copper crafting. I've seen some of his work. It's awesome. Emily is our jewel crafter who adds a nerdy twist to our collection. She also does photo shoots for cosplay and stuff. But they got tons of stuff, so they just added a bunch of new stuff, which I'm going to show you right now.
Yeah, I'm on their Facebook. It's pretty cool. Actually,
These gemstone pendants are nice.
Yeah, it's just
these are all handcrafted.
Man.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's actually wicked. That looks like an eye. That's not a ring. What is that? This the blurry worked out last night. I mean, like I said, guys, the nice thing about these guys, their email stuff, you can email them here on this. Here, and you know, if there's something you might want crafted or designed, ask them. They'll work with you guys. That's what I really love about them. That's what I actually love about craftspeople. People that do craft. Bathtub salts. But you can come here, and if you actually go back to their About Me. I think they got their stores out on Etsy, but you can find them here, and like I said, communicate with them through here on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I finally get their photos loaded. Yeah, that's beautiful work. Those eyes.
You know, guys, this is what it's about.
What are these eyes all about?
I don't know.
That's pretty wicked. I like that.
I've been talking to Emily in a little bit. I've been wondering. I need to talk to Emily and actually get her on here because I know they got a couple events coming up as well that they're going to be doing on some fairs.
Oh, dragon eye magnets. Those are pretty freaking cool. Let's see if I can blow it up even bigger. Oh yeah, I like that. I don't know how they're made,
especially for us.
I like those.
Well, it's just for us. I mean, you know, a cult side. We actually know it goes into these magnets, this stuff. We know how much power is actually into this type of items.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, they got a woodworker. I want one of these Cheshire bottles of sand. I mean, rings, sand bottles, which I used to love that craft. Like I said, they make just a little bit of everything. I mean, like I said, I know if you talk to them and you run some ideas by them, you can probably get whatever you want designed and made for you. at a decent price. So like I said, and you're helping out people that's just trying to get by. You know, I'm all about supporting this types of stuff. It's mom and pop, what I call mom and pop stores or vendors, because it's what it's about. You know, I value homemade stuff more than I value the stuff I can buy in a store. Reasons one, they seem to last longer. They have more value, more meaning.
Yeah, that will last. That's where I'm not worried about robots taking over. Can you imagine the explosion of handcrafts we're going to have when all of a sudden people have free time?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at how many people work. You know, they work a 40, maybe sometimes 60-hour week, and they still have time. They pay their own money to do these things.
No.
And that's about the only thing that will still have value. Of course, a machine can produce just about anything, but I highly doubt they're going to be truly anytime soon. And art has its own value. Art is an interesting way that we express something. I don't actually foresee computers being able to draw on inspiration and intuition the way we do. They could select at random certain things, and I'm sure somebody can produce some software that will mimic art fairly well. And we'll have
right.
But a human being will be able to tell the difference. Just if they're aware, if they feel energies and things like that. And that's where I think we've got an advantage. Even if the machines and the robots did become self-aware, I think they'd recognize even they would prefer to merge with us rather than. So anyway, but I think we'll have a huge boom in quality handcrafts.
Right. I mean, they make, like I said, they make even costume accessories and costumes for people that cosplay and different things, or for like up and coming models that want to do model shoots that want like different genres or types of styles. Talk to them. They're not afraid to talk and converse back with you on things. I mean, like you were pointing out, especially Emily. I mean, she works some crazy hours, and so does Chad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where Constance works, but I know I personally know Emily and Chad, and yeah, they work some crazy hours. I mean, sometimes 50, 60-hour work weeks, but yet they still find time. Well, Emily's starting to make time, at least trying to set 3 hours out every day to actually work on the crafts. Because like I said, they got some venues coming up here in the next couple months where they're going to be having booths showing off all their stuff. You know, and as an artist myself, I enjoy doing things. I just, like I said, my time and stuff's been wrapped up doing these things, so I haven't been focusing on some of the stuff I do: sandblasting, glasswork, stained glass work, candle making.
Oh, nice. All three of them.
Woodworking. I mean, bottom line is I'm a jack of many trades, just masters of none. But actually, what most people don't know, I actually did go to college for art. I majored in actual art. I mean, from school. But I'm also just as good in the kitchen as I am out in the garage working on a car. I mean, the computer stuff that I'm doing now, that I've been doing, building websites and stuff, that's just more than I've added to my repertoire. You know, as you can see, I still do graphics. Not as much as I used to. I'm no longer doing, you know, the CC side of things for graphics and stuff. It's more building the actual websites and servers platforms. But I still do my own graphics for this. Even video editing, I'm starting to learn how to do that. Because why? Well, sometimes when you do 8-hour streams, you have to edit the video to break it down.
Yep.
And you guys can, I mean, for people, I started this in, well, a lot of the stuff I started in December. That's mostly on, a lot of that stuff's still on Drew Lima's channel. But this channel has actually been on YouTube for a while. We just didn't anything. It was more just for our website and magazine. for advertising promotion, because, you know, really back then, none of us knew anything about streaming. We knew how to, you know, do simple video clips and stuff. And plus, I'm not, you know, if Rob was on here, he'd tell you I'm not the social person. Doing this, if you would have said, oh, I could see him doing this, he'd probably bet you a lot of money that I wouldn't be doing this. You know, it's like, as, you know, Teal put it, got to come off our mountains. Or as I put it, got to come out of the shadows.
If people that have known me a good portion of my life, they would wonder what the hell happened to me. I've been known to go 3 months without contacting anybody. I mean,
with these,
except for saying whatever's necessary in daily life, I will come in contact with people. You know, life puts people in front of us. But aside from that, I've gone periods of many, many months. I never said anything to anybody. I like to socialize every once in a while, but I'm definitely an introvert.
Right.
You know, once or twice a month for socializing. But I don't consider this so much the same. It's got a social aspect.
It's got a social aspect where we can, you know, discuss things and also interact with the people watching it.
I had some things that I wanted to tell the world for a long time, and to, or at least tell other people. And I'll say it in, you know, small chats with 3 or 4 people. I just figured it'd be nice to make a permanent record of it. And I saw your show and thought, hey, I think I'll get along great with this guy. I think our views might complement each other rather well in some areas, contrast in some other areas. Hey, I can do this.
So, I mean, most people can't really see the true how things have progressed on this because they're missing the earlier sections that are still set in the channel. My real YouTube channel. This channel is more designed for me, yes, but other people. To bring other people in, let them use it, join me on the streams, and basically do what I was doing with the magazine, but on a whole different, bigger level.
I recommend it. You got some good material. I'm still going through it. I'm so wrapped up in getting a business going, partnering with some others. I'm so wrapped up in that sort of thing right now. These talks and occasional videos I'll watch, I try to keep it down to, you know, about 4 hours a day on spiritual things at most. Sometimes more. I have the time. It's no big deal. Like our 14-hour talk, 8 hours of it was recorded. Or 14, I think it was 14. Yeah, that was no big deal. I've just been so busy. It's
8 hours of it recorded. There was another 4 hours on top of it. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I love doing this. It's fun. You know, but I can compare the two channels. I can compare how the topics are different. How, like, the Truth Portal stuff, or some of the other videos that I've done on other things, they got more views, they get more attention, they get more watches. But those aren't so much, yes, they might have been done live stream, but there was no real, like I'm doing now, I didn't have that open for the interaction. Now, for this channel, it's always interaction. I mean, if I'm streaming it live, you guys can comment and chat. I'm getting better at keeping this window focused just on the chat, so something. And to me, that's important. Something I couldn't do with the magazine. You know, for right now, yeah, it still seems like I get the feel of the magazine from time to time where I have to, you know, respond in comments and stuff because they couldn't make it or they just now came across the channel. But it's like I said, this thing will progress as it does. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the views. You know, I'd like to see more subscribers because there's more features I can open up as I get subscribers. Some of those features are beneficial to you guys. Some of them benefit me too, just because, you know, like the super chat thing, because they're doing away with the fan funding. So I can, after I think the 20th, no longer be able to fan fund my page. Donations. Well, what I do with those donations, I put it back into this. Because like right now, my little split trick came to an end. So now I'm going to have to fork over almost $200 to just buy the lifetime license. A lot of stuff I can do with the XSplit that I can't do with the Hangouts. You know, just like, you know, the Super Chat's kind of cool. I've actually been watching it on other people's streams, you know. It's there, you know, people always wish to click on it and donate. They can donate, but then I can take that donations and like invest in a better camera so I can actually live stream outside, show you different aspects so I don't have to sit behind this computer 24/7. But I can also do what I was working on this week was getting ready to also set up like throughout the day running rebroadcasts because I can program my XSplit with certain videos that I want to replay or reshow, like the ones that are set on the occult ones that are set on Drew's channel. I can actually put them in my XSplit and just live broadcast and let it stream and play. You know, occasionally come back to the computer and interact with anybody that might be in the chat room. So there is benefit. But in the end, it's you guys benefit the most. You get the information, you get the knowledge, you get new ideas, new concepts. And I benefit from the same purpose as you guys ask questions, comment, send me messages. You guys as well. I learn better ways to improve my stream. Am I going to do a complete 24-hour broadcast every day? No.
Whoa.
But I might do like on Fridays. I don't stream on Fridays. So on Fridays, I might just set it up so it runs 12 hours. Or, you know, just recovering different streams I've done throughout the few weeks or some topics I want re-brought up. That way you guys are always up to date and stuff. And I sit there, I'm by the computer, like, oh, let me ask a good question. Let me jump in and actually comment back on that. So there's a lot of tools out there that I've been slowly introducing and using. So yeah, but you know, it'll grow as it grows. That's the way I look at it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody, donate to this guy. Subscribe, share, participate. Probably the most valuable.
I'd much rather have the participation than the money.
Yes, participate. Disagree with us. Whatever.
Yeah. Because here's what people understand. When you guys disagree, you bring another perspective. You bring your perspective. Maybe it's something we haven't realized or have never thought about. Then we can share back and forth. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you, get mad at you. It's not what this channel is about. It's about everybody being able to freely express their ideas and learn from each other. That's all this is about. To me, that's more rewarding than anything else. But I'm not going to, like I said, the tools are there for me. Once they open up, I'm not going to say no to it either. Yes, this would be a nice job to get paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. I mean, you guys click on the advertising things, which I only run one. Unlike other people, scatter them all the way out. I hate that. I got one. It pops up as soon as you turn on my video. That's the only ad you're going to see in my video. Either, you know, you just click on it. Hey, I get rewarded for it.
I'll have to turn my ads back on. I'll have to turn them back on when I visit your page. Damn it. I use an ad blocker and a script blocker.
Yeah. I mean, that's not going to make me much money because YouTube gets a nice percentage out of it.
Yeah,
but I mean, it has.
Every click counts.
I got like, how many videos do I have up on this channel? Let's just jump to my creator studio real quick. I know I got like 33 on my other channel, which half of them probably belong over here. A good portion of them belong over here. I can't say half because like I said, I did a lot of truth portals and a lot of rambling of the chaotic minds that really don't belong, that I want over here. Because I noticed as soon as you mention anything that sounds like politics, everybody tunes out.
Yeah, I could have crossed that
Even
line
though,
earlier. I should have saved that one for a different venue. Oh well.
like this.
I even found a
so
way to make it beautiful and not so bad. So whatever.
my estimated revenue off just the ads that are monetized, 'cause all my videos are monetized, 24 cents. And you can't collect this till you reach $100, so $100. So, not collected anytime soon on any of my channels. But I think I'm up to, this will be the 30th video in here, and they're all a call.
Well, they say, and I found it to be somewhat roughly close enough to true. For every success, 10 failures. Have a 1 to 10 ratio. So I figure after a few more of these, we'll start to get more. Here you will. Well, I'll still be here.
I mean, the most views on any video I have
Unless you
is
boot
33.
my ass. Catch me on a cranky day. You may have to boot my ass. That'd be funny.
The one that's got 33 views was our first 8-hour open discussion night.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I saw it and it was down. It was, I think it was 29, or it was 27 live. I saw it.
Like I said, the only video ad you'll see is right there. The first one.
I got no issues with that. With a single ad.
Right.
Well,
plus
I don't like
I've
those
started going back.
I
started going back for like the end of the videos. Because I haven't added the ad cards to them, because you can't do that when you live stream. You can't do it until after it's uploaded and reprocessed. But I also add like certain videos I know link to another one that are connected to another one. I've started doing that, but I haven't had the time to set through here and do it to every video. Like I said, it's a learning process. I'm starting to learn how to use the tools. So I'm getting rewarded just by that, learning how to make the stream better.
You're teaching me how to do it too. I had never really, I've uploaded a couple of my own videos in the past, but I never really messed with anything in YouTube. It's an amazingly powerful tool. I was checking out some of the different features the other day.
Oh, they've got some good features. I mean, they've got a new features coming out that's going to allow me to actually live stream anywhere to YouTube. Because most people that live stream outside with their cell phones and stuff, or video cameras, they have to use outside apps.
Like Ustream?
YouTube's are fine. Yeah, YouTube is finally introducing their own app, but the drawback to that one is it's not going to happen anytime soon for me. You got to have 10,000 followers.
Wow.
I'll be happy just to reach the 1,000 mark. To open up some of the other ones where I can actually have a custom URL.
I'll have a fairly nice tool to use pretty soon. It's a similar tool. You may be familiar with it. GoToWebinar, GoToMeeting. Well, I'll have access to it because I'm using it for my company. It's only it's $200 for what is it? Where's the pricing? I'll go back to the pricing. It's $200 or so, something like that. It integrates with YouTube somehow. I haven't looked too deep into how.
I mean, I liked how that was set up when we checked out Golden Dawn one that they did.
Did they use GoToWebinar?
They used, I think it was GoTo.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was GoTo.
I got turned on to
I tried to check out the one Facebook has. Yeah, that's not to me, I'm not working, so it's not worth even investing in because I'm not big on those types thing. I like being able to do something that's either free
Mm-hmm.
or doesn't cost much where I can actually invest into it and do it. I mean, just like for me, for exploit, for like $15 for a 3-month license.
Yeah, that's
to me affordable, and I get a lot of use out of it. But right now they're offering the deal 55% off. So when I get my income tax, I'm going to spend $200 and just buy the lifetime license and never have to worry about it.
There you go.
Because it benefits me and it'll benefit everybody else. The more I can do with it, the more stuff I can do with it. Yeah, I got an update for it yesterday, and it screwed how I was actually using it.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Had that happen more than once.
What's what you get for trying to be a cheapskate and cheat.
Oh, yeah. Part of the reason I moved over to open source in the first place. But for me to do an open source, I can hold, there's some really fine open source software to do that, but they require running on my own server. I have to actually dedicate a lot of bandwidth that I don't have right now in a whole server. I couldn't just partition that off. That's just to handle the video requirements. I'm going to go ahead and before I do all that, that costs the electricity for a server like that. At idle, the one I've got running right now costs me $40 a month just at idle. With the light load, it jumps up to about 45 to 50. And then you got your bandwidth costs, which if you've got it hosted somewhere, if you host it at a data center or something, then you co-locate, you can get it. Your bandwidth is oftentimes almost free. No, I don't have the money to host it myself. I've tried some different solutions in theory let you do that, but there's one, I forget the name of it. It's based off of Hangouts. It's fairly popular, but once you get around 10 people using it at one time, you get some really severe bandwidth problems, lag, and so it's okay. It's not free, but I've come to I kind of like Citrix products, and I'm not sure why. And I'll wrap this part up in a second, or otherwise this will be an 8-hour tech talk. I may have to do that someday. I may start my own doing that, just talking tech. But Zen servers is put out by Citrix, and it's you can manage your own cloud with it, and it's mostly open source. It's open source with some paid add-ons, but the open source part is good enough that you can run a whole enterprise off of it.
Oh yeah.
So not like they shortchange the features. It's got features for development. Okay with charging for that. That's fine, my book. If they don't charge for it, then they can't keep making it. And there are some things I've found are a lot slicker than open source. A lot of times, yeah, you do get some slick products when they got serious money behind it. But you have to pay through the nose for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an option for me at the moment. If it's not critical, I can't spend money. But this would be critical for me. For both meetings, and I might use it for talks too if I do my own. There's so many tools out there today. I don't even bother recommending anything anymore.
Which is like I'm waiting for the site to grow for a bit. Somebody approached me that I actually been watching these videos and stuff. Asked no one to join their site. Well, their site's going to be subscription based,
right?
Which is cool because it allows me to actually do some work on a subscription, and that way there's potential to be able to take that and invest back into it. But for the most part, this is how my formats will always be. If you choose, when the options unlock and become available, so be it. You know, this is another part coming from the gaming community and working on Twitch and stuff. You learned how to do things. It's like, you know, say Chris he starts his own channel and starts doing more tech stuff. Well, he lets me know when he's going live, and I've got something going live. I can take my audience, jump over, share the stream, and basically what we'd call a Twitch bomb on Twitch, and do a YouTube bomb and drop my audience over to him. For those that would be interested, and that'd increase his views and stuff.
Whoa.
There's a lot
I
of
didn't know you could do that.
There's a lot of tricks and stuff you can learn from just, like I said, you got to be able to step outside the box, be open to other things, new ideas. I mean, that's how we learn.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's how actually I learned to do these things. I started with a gaming stream. But I was able to live stream it to my own websites. And that helped me, you know, be able to teach classes inside my own groups on my websites. Now I can just do it anywhere. I mean, like I said, I'm a member of a few groups out there, or social sites out there. Now I can share these things. They can watch right there from their site. Mm-hmm. And some of them, yes, I have to go in bed. That's why, you know, I have to start about an hour before I go live to set up the embeds on these other sites. So it's set up so they don't have to leave their site. That's why I wish YouTube would improve their chat so you can actually embed the live stream chats into these sites. If I could embed a live stream chat, people that follow my blogger or follow me on WordPress can just watch right from there and interact right from there. Same way with Twitter. It's like I said, you know, I encourage people, or all of our communities, to actually look into this. You know, if you got any questions, I got plenty of time to help you out. But as it starts getting warmer, some of that time is going to be refocused elsewhere. But I'm still going to be doing these like I've been doing them. Scheduling as the things come up, because I enjoy doing this. I've always enjoyed doing this in some way or another. And in a lot of cases, it's a lot easier than having to sit here, spend hours, because I'm a slow typer. Funny. And type things out and just post them on websites. Now I can just take grab one of my grimoires, whatever I had written in there, and just read it to you. And then some things I've learned and experienced, how some of my views have changed on these things. That's what I've found has been more really rewarding to me.
It's easier to flow in a conversation. Mm-hmm. It may not always be as structured. I flip between the two. In real life, I'm usually talking. I'm not normally going to type something up and hand it to somebody and print it out, and I'll talk to them. But I like both. I like to do proper articles. I've only done a few.
I'd like to do some more stuff on dreams. But when I do that, I'd like to have, see if I can't get a time down to have Ren join me in on that as well.
Yes.
Because, that's the thing, guys. You guys got areas where you're really particularly good at. Don't want to do your own stream, but get with me, we'll work together and get in time to do a schedule where we can get into the hangout, go live, and discuss a certain topic and share each other's ideas. That's what this is about. It's what KOTR has always been about. Which is, it's cool when I've seen somebody come in here, hey, could you review my channel? Sure. In a sense, that's what it's about. It's not about sitting here arguing who's right or wrong, because we're not going to get nowhere.
Right. It took the words out of right out of my mouth. Yeah. Just doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, who can yell
Or
the
where it goes.
loudest?
The only where it goes, it just keeps us divided and
Yep.
keeps us from learning from each other and actually learning new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of doing things, or realizing that the way you do it and the way I do it, there's a connection, and we actually find out that we're doing the same thing, just different ways. Well, by us talking about that, discussing that, we're now showing everybody else that. That's why I see how important these things are. That's why I like the Saturday night for open discussions, because it's open to anything topic.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy the set topic ones as well, because then we're just focusing on that topic. You know, just like I want to do some more work on empath stuff, because there's not a lot of stuff out there for empaths. But I also have come to find that the community is hard to work with, because they don't like being out in the open like that. As an empath, I understand that. But eventually you do get over it. The more you embrace that side of you, the more you want. But then there's some things, sometimes that's why I don't show the group when I do those discussions. Because, you know, that's to them, that's the one place they can go, be left like-minded other people.
Right.
And not feel uncomfortable or vulnerable when discussing things. And, you know, guys, there's a topic you guys want, but you can't get on, you want discussed, send me an email. You can message me here on YouTube or anywhere on the links that I left below. I can even give you my personal email address. I don't mind doing research.
That's the fun part sometimes.
Oh, hell yeah, 'cause you learn from it.
Especially if you start chasing a trail down of something. It can be like a scavenger hunt.
Hmm? Yeah, that's why
I'm going to have to go
I
make
was there for a while.
Oh, I said
I'm thinking about it, wrapping up.
Dinner in a minute.
Yeah, I'm thinking about wrapping up the stream anyway here shortly.
Yeah.
We're really not getting any viewers.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of running out of things to discuss. I pretty much all hammered everything I wanted to talk about this week, and I don't feel drawn to revisit anything besides the sigil magic thing, and I might not even revisit that. I might have revisited enough this week. It's time to let it go, and actually tomorrow I'll focus on what I want for next week.
Yeah. If I keep going,
I have learned.
About...
That's one thing I've learned doing the stream almost every night. Can get a bit taxing as well.
Yeah.
Plus, I do have something I need to work on tomorrow too. So no, I'm probably not going to do revisit. No, I think I've hammered that home enough. I mean, there's so much you can talk about when you get into, seals, sigils, and symbols. I mean, I feel like I still didn't cover enough of it, but for right now, I think it's probably enough. I've opened the idea up, showed you some different things, showed you how it's being used today more and more. I mean, just like that image I showed earlier in the stream. It's a meme.
If
What
people
is
want to
a
know
meme?
more,
It's
they'll
a
ask
sigil.
questions.
Right.
And so many tie into it that it'll naturally be part of other topics too.
Right. It's going to come back up again and again. It might come back up next week.
Yeah.
See, I would like to do a truth portal on this channel. But the problem with that is I've noticed people tune out on it. As me and you witnessed with the open discussion, which I still think was a very important discussion to be talked about. The amendment, about Trump wanting to do the amendment on that to banish the amendment, LBJ's amendment for taxes on the church. Man, there were so many pros and so many cons. There's things that I've still some people are still commenting on them. But the problem is when I posted it, I mean, well, we see what happened. I ended up leaving TI over it because, you know, they wanted to, and it you know, now I'm talking about the Facebook.
I see a lot of people leaving.
I'm talking about the Facebook group. I mean, yeah, it's,
okay. Well,
when you start,
I didn't even really.
Yeah.
I don't think I even knew about you at the time. I just started a couple months ago. Nothing really. Well, a little bit. I mean, but the drama, there was nothing different than what I'm used to elsewhere. I bitch about it sometimes, but no, it wasn't that. I don't even have a real rational explanation. I'm just not feeling it. And I don't think it's
right.
I don't think it's feeling me either. I feel resistance. And that usually
tells here's the other thing.
It's time to go. Keep in contact with people. That's no big deal. I got no ill feelings or ill intent towards them. It's a great place. It's different.
Here's the other way I look at that one too. You know, if I'm not feeling the place, then I'm starting to project those energies onto that group itself. So I'm actually causing more harm than good by staying there.
Bingo. That's it.
So it's just easier to just, okay, I'll leave. I might come back. I mean, Rosie's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, sometimes you just got to step away from some things, let things run their course. And now you really, you know, you censor, you know, to me, that's, you know, I don't believe in censorship. In fact, that's something, even when Sweet was part of this, and with this website and a magazine, we gave you a place to come. We always believe in, one, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in your First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. I don't care what your belief and practice is. You can say what you want here. And when I share these videos in these groups, it's with that intention.
I hear you.
You know,
I got
if you decide you don't want that there, then I don't want to be there.
I got a mix of the two. At the moment, they're both in progress, have been for ages. I should finish them. But there's more open. Big deal with it. But another one is actually going to be very, very, it's the one that I would like to be friendly enough that anybody can come there, and unless they're really easily offended, they won't be. In there, I won't even, it's right in the about section. There, no, I don't say it this way, but essentially, I'm the one running this place. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. This place will be strict. You know, it's certain things like topics. We experimented with this on another site, and it could have worked, but I didn't really know what the hell I was doing at the time. I think I know now.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's also the respect thing.
Where if somebody go off topic too far, you know, you can actually give them a few minutes to chill out. You actually will shut them off for a few minutes. But that's more for serious learning. I don't know how to do it entirely without having some sort of stages or, you know, grades. So I think I may use a grade system of sorts where you've got different levels. But part of that will be, you know, to even get to the next grade, you understand these are imaginary. They don't mean anything.
Right.
This is just because you might actually be in over your head if somebody just bombards you with stuff that requires other stuff to understand. It's like mathematics. You don't just plop advanced calculus in front of it. It doesn't even know how to add to 6. It's not going to do anything. And so my solution, I thought about doing it all in one site. And I don't see how to make that work effectively. So it'll be 2 totally different places. But I value both. I think there's a time and a place for really structured, really tight. I mean, no bones about it, authoritarian even. And then there's times for places where, hey, if you're easily offended, don't come to this place. You are not protected here. The law requires us to do some things. Aside from that, chat at your own risk.
I mean, it's just like me. Yeah, I'm a member of 2 empath groups. Do I share these videos to the empath groups? No.
Mm-hmm.
And the empath community. It's a mixture of both. And yes, there's a lot of my videos that would be beneficial to that group, but it would cause friction in that group, and I don't want that. So therefore, I just only post a video if it's empath related to that. I've asked a couple times if anybody would be interested in doing like a convention type thing or a webinar type thing. They don't respond much to it, so I know it's just not the type of place for that. But I'm not leaving the group because I get enjoyment. I learn from it as well, and I like helping others when I see something where I'm drawn to something. Just like earlier this week, Monday, when I did talk about sigils, did the discussion on that. I actually got removed from a Facebook group, which I'm still laughing at to this day because, I mean, for real, you call yourself a mixing pot for pagans, Wiccans, druids, but yet when somebody's covering covering all aspects and showing you that there's division, that some ways we're dividing ourselves, and you want to remove me, okay, that's funny, because now you're just, and I got a few people that started following me from that group, and now it just shows, it shows them, hey.
You got removed for talking about sigils?
Yeah.
Wow.
Monday night. What is it? The cauldron, the mixing pot for pagans, Wiccans, and druids. And I mean, you heard me in the discussion. I talked about Ogham and other stuff.
Uh-huh.
Brought up druid stuff. But yeah, the very next day, I went to share my Tuesday night's video to that group. Couldn't even find the group. I was removed.
Damn.
In a sense, but here's what I also look at this. In a sense, you just prove what I've been saying. When you do stuff like that, you prove what I'm saying. Maybe because you want to teach a certain way that there's supposed to be this division, or we need to keep divided. You just, like I said, they just countered what their whole slogan for the name of their group was. So, I mean, I find it hilarious, actually. And granted, I also know a lot of people are not going to like what I say because they've been taught differently. I mean, for me, to listen to my stuff, you have to have an open mind, period. You got to be willing to think outside the box, step outside the box. You got to be able to also listen to your inner voice. Let the energies and stuff guide you. I mean, I've been doing it for so long; it's just natural to me. I go where I'm drawn. I'm drawn to something, right? I mean, I listen to Christian YouTubers because I am drawn to some of the stuff they say, some of the stuff they have. I know how to tune out the rhetoric, the dogma, and other things. And, you know, it's something you have to learn over time. And eventually, you know, like I said, I'll see it. I'll see the channel grow. People start coming in because they're going to be drawn to it. Somebody's going to share a video and other people's going to see it, like it. It's like, oh, I like what he says. And they're going to go back and watch. Like I said, you can't put too much emphasis on it. You got, you know, yeah, it's nice to see the numbers. But I know things are getting spread as they're supposed to and when they're supposed to. I see the pattern. So it takes that stress off. And it allows me to enjoy doing what I do. It allows me, when I get removed from a group because of a video that didn't go too well with certain individuals in the group, to just laugh about it. It's like, okay, you're lost, and it is. It's their loss, not mine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like I was speaking about the group on Facebook. I chose to leave. They didn't do nothing wrong. It's just, you know, I didn't like how something went about, and when I firmly believe if you're going to censor something, you don't want something out there, I can't be a part of that group. That's my morals, my beliefs. Am I wrong? Maybe.
It's understandable.
But it's not like I won't come back eventually.
I've been known to do that myself.
Because there was some good stuff being posted in there. You know, I can't hold the whole group accountable for a couple bad apples. Right? That's essentially what it was. A couple bad apples wanted to complain. They wanted a place, you know. But the problem was, and then, truthfully, I blame myself too, because it's how I titled the video. I would have titled it a different way, not overlooked.
Oh, over the
it was a learning
Trump
process for me. Yep.
Trump thing.
All because I said Trump.
Gotcha.
And that just goes to show how brainwashed some people are.
Yeah,
the Trump was a trigger.
I'm careful where I put politics, because I don't really have a political
view.
I have a view on people that includes politics as a side effect. I don't view politics as the cause. It doesn't cause anything. It's a side effect.
Right. You know, but that's the problem. That's been one of my complaints. Everybody are so quick. It's a psychological warfare that's going on. Everybody sees something trending, they jump right on it and believe it's true before even looking into it.
Mm-hmm.
So they've seen the word, well, they're anti-Trump. Okay, cool. It had nothing to do with Trump. I mean, it had to do with what he said, what I had read and felt that came often from what he said. The real discussion is how it's going to affect our communities.
I think if more people would stand for something instead of being against things, quit being anti this, anti that.
Oh, yeah.
Not even so much, even the pros that they try to, they think they're on, even those are antis. They're in anti-anti.
Yeah, if you can't look past the anti part, you're never going to be able to learn anything. You're not going to be able to learn from anybody else. Everybody else is wrong.
Yeah.
You shot them down before you could even hear what they had to say.
Yeah, that's why I don't have a side. My side is I make every effort to be in alignment with reality and to do my best to do what's right. My idea of what's right changes from time to time, but I do my best to do that. If that happens to bring me, in support of something Trump is doing, then cool. If that brings me in support of him mostly, cool. But and it's not that I flip on people. It's that if I'm supporting something, I'm supporting that something. And if anybody else is supporting it, then they just happen to be by my side. Not because I've chosen to be by theirs or that they've chosen to be by my side. We just happen to be working towards the same thing.
Right.
If they work different or if I work different, then we drift apart. That's why I say I don't really have a political view.
No, it is. And truthfully, that video...
And if what I say politics...
And that video, there wasn't politics.
Right.
It was us weighing pros and cons, how this could affect our community. And between me and Chris, we came up with different things that, hey, it was eye-opener. That, in the end, it came down to, well, this is actually going to be the biggest con was the simple fact we are so divided. What happened the very next day? A certain group proved us right.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't look past the name of Trump. And they couldn't look past, oh, it's political. No, it's something that's going to affect you if this happens. There could be, trust me, we named some good pros that could be, hey, finally, we can actually, really take a stage in the world and be recognized. We're technically supposed to be recognized.
Right.
But the downside of it, you can't do it when you're divided. Because why? The zealots will just take over and we'll be pushed away over. So basically, yeah, and in conclusion, no matter how we felt about it, strongly we felt about it, we realized that, no, till our communities can, that we have within our communities, this particular problem would hurt us more. It would be actually the downfall of all of our communities. But for people that didn't listen to it and watch it, well, guess what? If it does come about, don't cry. Don't complain. Because when we bring stuff like this to the communities and want them to come in and discuss and learn from each other, now we're becoming aware of the situation on multiple levels. We can start putting patterns together, seeing the patterns. And, well, we're occultists. We know how to weave and make things so they happen the right way instead of hurt us. Well, that's been my issue with a couple topics. The message to the pagan community. I tried to do that. Waited 2 weeks before I came back to it again. Put it out there. Now, how many people joined and wanted to talk about it? None. But that's okay. I'm watching the effects of that one come back, and it's been a positive one. So just by me putting it out there, I did my own form of magic and got to see the effects come back.
There you go.
Although it still didn't, the other side effects are, I'd see that, been seeing that since I have entered the communities. They don't want to let go of the division. Yeah, I think it's a good place to end the stream on.
I think so.
Like I said, I'm getting hungry myself. And quite frankly, I'm just out of topics to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've covered a lot in the last 2 months, and just this week alone. Plus I gave myself some ideas for next week, which is another fun thing about these open discussion nights. It gives me ideas for next week. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to some of the topics I might be doing next week. But, hey, guys, hope you enjoyed. If you like, hit the like button. Definitely share it. Help me get this out there more to other people that would enjoy this stuff, would like to participate. And feel free to subscribe so you know when I actually go live. I don't have to spend a bunch of time sending links out everywhere to let everybody know.
Don't be a ghost.
You guys get your own. Yeah. Because there's an hour I have to do. I mean, it takes me an hour just to do that.
Hey, you got to wait for it to finish processing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, you guys, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you guys back on Monday for another stream at 6:30. And other than that, you got anything else you want to say, Chris?
Not much. I might, during the week, it's a 50-50 if I'm going to be on. Depends on how busy I am, if I'm busy sleeping. Oh, that should be just about over. We're past full moon.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll make it next weekend. And probably
yeah,
one during the week too. At least one. Other than that, peace. Everybody.
Yep.
Have fun. Play in this world. It's important.
Yeah.
Never take anything personally.
Enjoy.
Play.
Quit taking it. Yeah. Stop taking things so seriously. Check out AGERZ Incoming's channel for some fun, humorous stuff, or check out Teal Swan's channel for some inspirational, different type of inspirational, relaxing, more in tune stuff. Like, guys, anybody who wants their channel shared, just let me know. I'll do what I did tonight. But other than that, I'll see you guys on Monday.